This is the story of a girl.
Hello, everybody.
Who had a lot of
This is the
problems.
story of Volume 9's commentary. Thank you for watching the movie or watching the episode, I guess, and then coming to talk to us. God, I hated all of that. I want to start over already. It's too
Hey, you
late.
sound like my parents talking about content of like, thank you for watching our film.
Thanks for
Thank you.
watching our home video.
My name is Carrie Shawcross, and I'm the showrunner and happen to be the writer and director for this episode. And I'm joined by...
Eddie Rivas, head writer for Volume 9.
And Laura Yates, supervising producer for Rwby Volume 9.
And this is the commentary that I mumbled and muttered my way through.
I made a joke about it being like a home video, but in a lot of ways, the most expensive home video season of Rwby.
So that's a great thing to talk about, Eddie.
Yeah.
Volume 9 is... So we all know what happened in 2020. I don't need to bring it up. But, Volume 8, we started in the office. We got through writing and most of pre-production before March of 2020. Volume 9 was pretty much all done from home.
I want to say we were finishing writing this episode that some of this was referencing from Volume 8, the finale. We were writing, I think, when the transition to home happened.
We were,
Yeah.
It
we
was
finished
the
like
first
the
few
last
months
2 weeks
of 2020.
of writing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, we this was really different for us.
Yes.
I mean, this has been a series that's always just been a team in a studio in Austin, and now we're at home in Austin and in more places. But yeah, I mean, throughout this entire production, we had, every work from home. We had our audio team who does mixing and like recording would come in occasionally under very strict guidelines.
Yeah, we had to develop entirely new protocols to figure out how to record remotely and do everything because for Volume 8, we had been able to still be in the studio, but for Volume 9, it entirely work from home. We had to figure out how to do that COVID safe and still get the production done.
Yeah, which basically meant that Alina would come in and meet the person at the door and walk them into the booth, and then afterwards spray it down with Lysol, and we would all be directing remotely. We had Philip, our mixer, would come in and mix, and we'd come in and we'd do small mocap sessions, motion capture sessions. But I mean, besides that, it was all remote, and I have conflicting thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, at least for the writing stuff too, that was the first time that, for Volume 7, we're at least, and for some of 8, I feel like we were at least able to break where at least most of us were together,
right,
in the same space, and the energy's different when that happened. And so I remember it was like a learning curve, even how to do this. But it actually, in some ways, like I feel like it helped contribute to, because a lot of us were going through our own stuff in 2020, helped contribute to the personal feeling, of the volume.
I think it's something we'll get into more as we go, but this is definitely a volume that I think, worse in terms of the pandemic sense. But I think that in some ways it turned out better because we did this when we did it and how we had to do it. Because I think that there was a lot of things that we were all going through that we kind of were able to put into our art. I know it sounds sappy to say, but we were able to, put into it and yeah, I don't know. I miss working from the office. I also like my cat and hanging out with them. So it's been a little bit of a mix. This episode, I was actually, I want to say, I don't know how y'all felt about it. I was really nervous about this episode.
It's got a lot to do. Because we didn't want to do a thing where we were separated from Team Rwby for a really long time.
Right.
But we wanted to set up the world, but we also wanted to get them back together, but we didn't want it to feel cheap. And yeah, it had a lot to do and not a ton of time to do it.
Mm-hmm. And I was worried, and I think, there's still some things I could have done better about it, but I was really worried about this just feeling like a complete setup episode. And then I think kind of partway through the process, at least for me, I realized like it kind of is a setup, and that's okay, I guess, that it in a lot of ways it is setting up a lot of what's going on because it's this weird, crazy world. And I think that kind of became my goal is making sure there was a purpose to what it was doing, right? You know, how do we set up visually that this is definitely not Remnant from the get-go? How do we get a talking mouse in there in a cute and comical way? But I don't know. I was really happy when people saw it and enjoyed it, because I definitely, you know, I had concerns, but that's also my imposter syndrome that we'll talk about that topic of imposter syndrome later in this.
I'm Ruby Rose. And to Ruby Rose is...
Yeah,
No.
it's a fun episode. I think I kind of like you're saying, Eddie. I think that having
Not yet.
having at least a moment of everybody separated, I think was really nice.
Yeah.
But I'm also glad that it wasn't a multi. I think we talked about that early on. Is like we want to make
Yeah.
sure that there wasn't like a multi-episode plot point that was the girls get back together, because we've done that.
Yeah.
You know?
I think we talked about it for a little bit. Like, did
Yeah.
they each have time to do their own adventure before coming back together? And I think ultimately we decided from the beginning, when I say the beginning, for me it was the beginning. Like
Sure.
coming in on Volume 7, we always knew that Volume 9 was going to be a really personal thing for the 4 girls. And so it's like we committed to this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get them all 4 together, give them as much screen time together as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Have long blonde hair. The other has
Going back kind of a subject to the work from home stuff,
cat
you
ears.
know, there's obviously
Sorry,
some
I should've
challenges
known.
with you know, trying to do this a creative task separately, but you know, I guess from the writing side, from the production side, like how
Or doesn't look like you.
is it weird that in some ways like it wasn't that different?
They're always out for it,
Is that weird to say?
you know.
Like,
Need food and stuff.
yeah.
No, I think that makes sense. It actually, so going back a little bit to the vocals that the bird was making when Ruby first enters this scene, when we were in office and we had characters like that to cast, you know, it's so easy to just talk to the people around you and, you know, who wants to lend their voice to this moment or this project. And then suddenly when we work from home and we're having to cast roles like the bird squawking at the beginning of this, and it ended up being our editor, Richard Norman, which was a wonderful performance. But I think it's a good example of things that we...
You mean the pilot?
I definitely mean the pilot, yeah. But, you know, it became things that were just part of the production and the collaboration that we had in office. Suddenly we had to think about and individually identify, you know, how do we want to resolve this specific thing? But like you're saying, it ended up not being that different. We just talked to people from home instead of turning to that, you know.
We just had to
and-
be more purposeful with things that I think
Exactly.
that just
Yeah.
kind of happened automatically
Yeah.
before. And I do think that there was a little bit of a learning curve. And a lot of that happened in Volume 8, you know, so I mean, that was good in that sense.
I guess it could
But-
have been worse.
Yeah, and you know, like, like we're talking on the writing side, I mean,
That wasn't an invitation. Was
you know, we'd already been working with QC remotely
Yeah.
regardless, so it was just, it kind of ended up all working out.
When you had mentioned mocap as well, you know, we used to mocap full sequences with actors interacting in the space, and at this stage of the pandemic, we could only really bring one actor into the volume at a
Yeah.
time, and so that really changed our approach to what we could record in a given session and how we had
Yeah.
to conceptualize the scene in terms of capturing all that motion and how, you know, characters would play off of one another with only one person performing all of the roles. So
Which there's the obvious cons of, you know, yeah, we can't have these, you know, multiple performances at the same time. But then a benefit of that was that the animation team got to do more just pure hand-keyed animation, which I think,
absolutely, yeah.
you know, ended up a little bit more fun in a lot of ways, and
Yeah.
gave them room to play, and you know, especially with so much of the, you know, character, you know, animations that we had to do, the creature animation we had to do this year. I think that was kind of a not like a blessing, but like a weird positive side effect, I guess. Although I would pay money to see Joel mocapping the little, but that's another time.
We spent a long time trying to figure out the order that we would run in to the girls again. I remember that's the
That's
thing I
right.
remember the most from this episode is trying to figure out what order do we see them in the same order that they fell, but we wanted to start with Ruby.
Right.
And we wanted Yang to be last And then it really made a lot of sense at that point, once we kind of settled on that, to run into Blake and Weiss kind of together to save a little bit of time. But then also it was nice to give them some one-on-one that they don't normally ever get.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, and I think for us too, it was kind of a balance of what makes the most sense coming off of Volume 8, and also what makes the most sense in this weird Ever After world that doesn't necessarily have to play by the rules that Remnant does. But I also just loved it too because because Yang was the first one to fall.
Yeah.
Having her stay in mystery just a little bit longer, I thought felt really nice. I'm so happy about Little.
I don't remember how we came to the idea of Little, to kind of like having someone that was kind of like along with them to give some more rules about how this place works, but then also to kind of like help Rwby kind of on her journey. I don't really remember it because this was so long ago.
I don't either. We were talking the other day, and Kiersey said something about Little, and then said, "Good job, Carrie." So I'm just gonna take credit for it.
No, I remember it was your idea.
Was it? Okay,
Yeah, I remember
don't
Little
remember
was your
this.
idea.
Because I think early on, when we were just, we knew forever that this was going to be kind of like the Alice in Wonderland arc, and I think I was just kind of going through the characters, and I got to the Dormouse.
That's right. It was off the Dormouse.
Yeah. Secretly, it's Stuart Little.
I remember we talked about that.
But really, it's the Dormouse.
Yeah.
But to me, it's Stuart Little. So if you want to update the Wikipedia page. But yeah, no, I think we just thought, especially with Ruby's journey throughout this volume, I think that we all kind of felt that there was something nice in her having somebody that almost in a way represented how she started.
Yeah.
With her, this like kind of like fresh, kind of naive, but with a good heart, and to almost be like a reminder to Rwby, a reminder to the audience of where Rwby started, to help contrast where she is now.
Even on a production level, I remember the reveal of Little to the internal team, and just that feeling of, what is this character?
Yeah.
It was so exciting, and we all loved them immediately. But then there was also the follow-up of, now how do we actually make this character?
Yes.
And that huge props to our incredible rigging team.
Oh yeah.
For starters. But
Yeah, it is not an easy thing to have a character that can do both quadruped and bipedal.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a challenge, but I think we also
What happened to your arm?
one thing I'm really happy about what we did this year is kind of try to use those challenges in a smart way where, we have Little and we have the cat that we knew were going to be in a lot of scenes, and we wanted to put that extra time into. And then we had, we'll see, in the next chapter, we had characters that are board game pieces that don't have any limbs and they just bounce around, So I think a lot of it's a balance and just knowing where do we want to put that time. And with the number of, unique things we wanted to do this volume, we just kind of had to do that more than ever, and I'm really happy with where we got with it.
No one came back from Backgo to help.
One of my favorite things about this episode is Weiss delaying the telling up until this moment. What's been interesting watching the audience kind of react to this is the thought that like Weiss didn't tell everything to Rwby, which it's an unfortunate side effect of we try not to repeat information on screen that we don't have to, but if someone's hiding something, we also try to show that moment that they choose to hide it, where the idea was that everybody was on the same page.
Yeah, that when we came in on this, it is tough. Yeah, and I think it was something that, when you watch people kind of like live comment the episode, they're like, why aren't you saying anything? Why aren't you saying anything? But then I feel like it makes this moment later feel more impactful. But you're right, we have to go out of our way to say Weiss is not.
Yes.
And I had to, I was trying to be really careful to like get that shot in of like Weiss looking a little longing or like, clearly not being okay about something, to make sure.
No.
I like this note that we end on too.
Yes.
It's this very
I know how
unsure, but, kind of magical
I think we're in a
moment, which is what this volume is. I love how this song turned out. I love how this song turned out. I cannot get over, so this is the first intro after, Jeff Williams retired, but we obviously still have Casey Lee Williams and Martine Gonzalez, who, worked on Volume 8, and, but the two of them are leading music on Volume 9. And not that I had any doubts, but it was just so amazing to actually get this in and just be like, oh, that's so good.
My experience with these, like being on this side of it, is that every intro song takes a second to grow on me.
Sure.
Like it takes a couple of watches through the intro. But yeah, this one I feel like happened faster than the others, for sure.
Yeah, well, this is an intro I watch, and I'm immediately brought into the volume. I feel like I'm immediately in the story and the setting. I love that about it. I feel like, it really establishes a specific space.
I think there's something that was really extra fun about this intro, is that we normally have to go out of our way to make sure that we're not telling what happens. But because things are so wild and different, we can show a raccoon,
wacky visuals,
and you don't know what that means, and it has no content, or context, but we can show that. So I think that made this one a little extra fun and a little extra special.
It was nice to get some of the ever after hinting without diving into the full story, too.
The two sets of footprints. I was so stupidly proud of that idea. And we're back for Chapter 2. I am still Carrie Shawcross, and I'm joined by...
Still Eddie Rivas, head writer for Volume 9.
And Laura Yates, supervising producer.
Paula Decanini, episode director.
Oh yeah, I also wrote this episode, I guess I should have said.
Yeah. So yeah, our first one kind of after this realization that, all right, maybe we're not a remnant anymore. Which I was really thankful for. We talked about this a little bit in the first one, but I'm glad that we kind of this makes it sound like a bad thing, but like rip that Band-Aid pretty quick.
Yeah.
And let the discovery be more about just actually learning about this place versus like figuring out the mystery of that side of it. Does that make sense? It's more fun.
Well, yeah, once we started keying in, like when we were like kind of writing this volume, once we started keying in on that there was like a story before our story, and that's when it started really getting exciting for us. And so being able to like have the first one be the realization of, wait, we might know this place. Like one of us knows kind of where we are. And then the second episode start to like unveil, and being able to rely on a story that we cheated a little bit, right? Because the audience is, generally familiar with Alice in Wonderland. So we were able to kind of piggyback on that with only giving necessary details that are different, just to kind of get us further into the story and give our heroes like a trajectory to follow.
Well, what I liked about what you guys did is it kind of returned Blake back to her book nerd roots from like way back season 1. And I think it did an interesting dynamic with the characters this season, because I think when me and you talked about it, Carrie, we talked about, if Ruby's feeling very disheartened, she's grieving this season, maybe it makes sense for Blake to kind of take more of a leadership role. Because I think
they're more alike than, in some ways.
Well, I think my impression was that Blake, she's probably the most emotionally mature at this point in the story, because she's had the most character development. She's had her reconciliation with her parents. She's faced Adam. She's like kind of gone through her whole character arc. So she has a lot of...
broke away from her parents pretty early and did kind of have to grow up quicker in that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And and then there was that really great moment in the last season where she had a conversation with Rwby, where she was talking about like, I always looked up to you even though you were younger than me. And it just made sense to me that Blake felt could step up a little bit more this season.
Yeah, she gets to kind of be the person that knows the story the best and kind of start to lead a little bit. And then you have like Yang kind of cracking jokes and Weiss, who is so quickly done with this place.
Just not into it. Yeah, I think when we talked about it, you were like, Blake and Yang are kind of into it. They're like, when years are gone, they're going to look back on this with fondness. Weiss hates it.
Yep.
She hates it the most. And then, Ruby's just kind of like lost in her own thoughts this whole season.
Just not feeling it.
Yeah. I think we visually, when we were putting together the storyboards, we tried to arrange the camera so that mostly Ruby's very isolated. So there's a lot of shots where we see the three girls by themselves, like the rest of the team, and then Ruby by herself. Or if we do see her with the other team, like here you can see Ruby's not even looking. Like Ruby's always kind of staring off at the distance. She's just kind of very subdued and numb this episode because she's trying not to think about everything that happened last season.
Yeah, I think she's gonna just throughout the season, like visually, we try to kind of do that and okay, yeah, the hand touch. Here we go.
Yeah.
I'm
Weiss was what? Weiss was wise
Weiss
to
was
it.
ready for it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's still like, even though this episode's out and like, it still just feels weird to actually talk about and like say now. But I love, seeing that these, of course, the other characters saw this coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really love being able to like hang back here with Weiss for some of this stuff, right? Just to like hang like, because there was a lot of contention, and we knew that going into Volume 7 and 8 about how Team Ruby handled it, and the idea with all of it was always that they were going to fail and not have made all the best choices, and to be able to have our characters even saying like, despite us.
Despite us.
Good timing. Laura, how scared were you when you saw these outlines and the number of assets?
Oh, I gotta say, pretty scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also excited because it was, a huge number of new assets, but also exciting things that we hadn't done before and got to explore and kind of innovate and bring into this world.
I think the compromise was a big word this volume for us.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm genuinely happy with where we ended up. I mean, like, I think we got just the right amount of things in.
We had great use of background paintings.
Yes.
I love all the background paintings in this episode.
We utilized a lot more map painting this volume, not just to kind of fill in areas, but also just to even just create some of the areas too, so that we wouldn't have to build out full sets. And it definitely saved a lot of time and money.
Maybe I'll live by this bridge.
This one little song that Little is about to sing was improv.
Oh, by Lucia, yeah.
Yeah, it was very cute.
Like to come with us?
She's such an amazing job. I'm so glad we got to work with her again. And there's just so many great comedic elements that you added to this.
Yeah,
I think it sets a really good tone for the season.
Well, especially because like this episode, I mean, it gets pretty somber, and the script actually has like some pretty big somber moments in it, and I think it was good for us to have that tone. And it's funny, like Miyazaki, like Spirited Away was like a big thought for me for this episode when I was writing it. Just that idea of like, just because we recorded some of these out of order, and Paula talked about that for episode 5. But that idea that like things are whimsical and kind of silly, but then like wanted to start threading in, but that there's something deeper happening under the surface of this place, right? That's touching on something like more on a heart level, and that was the tone that like we really wanted in this episode.
It's definitely a really layered episode. Like the way that it just worked out in the QC process for delivering these episodes, this ended up being the one that I've by far watched the most. We just had, so many small things that we caught and wanted to perfect. And I still, watching it for the 100th time, am engaged and am seeing new things for the first time. And it stands out to me for that reason.
All of Jinxie's treasures are
No, I think it was everybody did an amazing job. Kind of. Obviously, this is the second episode, but it really feels like the first episode of the arc. Really, like the episode 1 almost felt more like a prologue in some ways. Like I think it really kicks it off well.
Well, that was the challenge and the fun of writing it. It was like this episode needs to like capitalize on the promise of like this season is these 4 characters together working stuff out. So
Right.
it needs to have a lot of interplay between them, and I love all these bits here at the auction. They're like some of my favorite bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like this is like a great way for us to be able to introduce the absurdity
Yes.
of how this world works. Is no, there are the idea of rules or the idea
Yeah.
of something that might be similar how it is on Remnant or on Earth, but it's going to be a hug instead of a coin. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, little.
Yeah, and I think you had mentioned to me that Yang still might kind of think this is all a dream, so she's kind of like, no, nothing I do is matters.
Yeah.
So that gives her a little more playfulness than throughout this whole exchange here.
I think that's the approach we want to take. Is just everybody handles grief and anxiety and fear in different ways, and I genuinely think that an entire season of 4 characters just being sad is just not
Yeah.
realistic or fun or interesting. So I'm really happy with the way that we ended up kind of contrasting them all, and they all have their ebbs and flows and their moments.
So we just put them in like the most absurd place ever. Just
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have enough, do you?
I have to be careful not to just start watching the episode
I
because
know.
I just like
I really love these moments.
Little's the real homie.
Yeah. Well, we had known, like, we had known that this whole episode was going to be based around this auction to get Gang's arm back, but we hadn't really talked about the specifics of it, and it wasn't until the writing of it that it was like the idea of, okay, maybe they're like bartering with like emotions and things from their heart. Again, just to like ring that bell of like something deeper is going on here. And I really love how it all turned out because it also happens to be really hilarious at different points.
Right. Yeah. The being able to get some really real emotions out of absurdity.
Yeah.
Was something that's just very unique to this volume.
This is my favorite. Weiss just, yeah.
Like, I did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not running.
I refuse to like dignify any of this.
This is my favorite dumb joke, is having to return the hug. I remember us talking a lot of like, how do you unhug? Is it going to be like a hug back? Is it going to
Yeah.
be like put the arms around and like move them away quickly? Like, how do you unhug somebody?
Coming up here, well, I love this moment of Blake having the existential crisis about being the moral of a story.
Yeah.
But I love this next bit with Weiss, like just the animation and the
It
expression
was
in
so
it.
fun, yeah.
Be the moral of one.
Yeah, I think, it was also important to us to like, because we did in the first episode and then again in this one, I think we were hoping that, that would be enough, is that like you can't just physically get to the tree. Like,
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure like really early in, it was super clear that was just not an option for them and they're going to have to figure something else out. More sad Ruby.
I like the progression too, because that was the thing that we were having to figure out when we were outlining the season. And it's been cool watching the audience react to it as well. It's like, figure out we're in a fairy tale. Let's establish the fairy tale. Okay, now we're having to follow it. And then start to layer in like, oh, wait, things aren't exactly the same as they were in the fairy tale. Oh, wait, it's a lie. Oh, wait, And it's been cool to watch that layering happen.
Yeah, I always feel kind of evil when we talk about this kind of things, but it's like what we're putting the characters through of like, let's give them hope.
Yeah.
And then take it away from them in an interesting way.
This is so funny.
If you told me in volume 1 that Weiss would be like the comic relief for like an entire season, I would have been like, really?
She gets so
but
many
it-
great moments in this volume.
It just works. her like mumbling like on the side, like earlier in the episode in here too. Kara did a great job with that.
What did Alex do next?
I think we pared some of the Weiss moments down just a little bit because we're like, we can't have her be the butt of every
Yeah.
joke. And I feel like we had to tamper some of it down a little bit.
It's just too easy.
You treasonous birthday ruiners! Okay.
I love how dumb they are.
We want to
I
go
also
to
love
the
this eulogy for
birthday
Penny.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
I think it worked out well because you directed a lot of big Penny moments in the final volume or the previous volume too.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I think I wanted to parallel this moment a little bit because I also directed episode 5 where she gets the sword back.
Right.
So, yeah, the fate looking into the blade, the holding the blade, the cherishing the blade. Yeah, I wanted to kind of keep similar shots, to repeat that.
Well, and it's kind of
that emotion.
It's something that we did throughout the volume 2 of this, seeing reflections in the weapons, and ultimately leading to like Ruby's choice of like for her that's picking who she's going to be.
She saw the world with better eyes.
So yeah, I love that. Yeah, we were able to kind of tie all those things in together.
Take us to the royal
Yeah, I
birthday
like
and allow us to
I like the tone this episode ends on because we've kind of been waiting for something from Ruby this whole episode, and we finally get it.
But it's not what we expect.
Yeah.
And we think, oh, it's this calm, measured response, but
Yeah.
you get a very hint at the
Yeah.
very end, like, no, it's not okay.
Yeah, it seems like she's stepping up and taking up the mantle of leadership, and then
This
right
is
after it's like, nope, we don't know what we're doing.
I'm
and
just-
I'm tired of
I'm
pretending.
just pushing things along.
Yep.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
I say we follow it.
Yeah. I think it's a great way to set up what's going to happen.
Pretending we
and then the shared look of,
Yeah.
is everything? Things are not okay. Yeah, they get it. They know.
Really fun ep. And here we are with chapter 3. Still got me, Carrie.
Eddie?
I'm Connor Pickens. I was one of the directors on this episode.
I'm Dustin Matthews. That's the other one.
Are we sure we should do
And
And I'm Kiersey. I was the writer on this episode.
yeah,
We aren't Alex.
I love this episode. There's a lot happening in 2, but there's something about this episode, and them getting to this place. Like it feels like they finally had like an objective that they wanted to get to, and were able to actually, kind of complete it. I guess
It is legitimately one of my favorite episodes of the entire series, and I feel like I could say that because it was all other people.
Yeah, this episode holds a really special place in my heart too. It was the last one that I worked on. I worked on Rwby for like 4 years,
Yeah.
and we were midway through production on this. I left in like July 2021, and we had just finished animation, I think, on it, cameras, and then Dustin took over directing after that. But yeah, I worked on this one for months and months,
Yeah.
and just like had so much fun. The animation, I was just blown away with our team on this.
I mean, so much went into the planning too for all of the of course I can't remember right now, but like the way that we did like the geometry of the layout.
Yeah.
Who's that really famous artist that I can't think of?
MC
Escher.
Yeah, thank you, Jesus.
MC Hammer.
Yeah, this is probably the most Eschery
Yeah.
episode in the series,
Yeah.
or in this season. There's a specific shot or two I'll call out later that were like majorly impacted. But
Yeah, but
I would just like to say I thank you everybody for I was pushing really, really hard for the soldiers to have those little toy horses. And I'm just really glad that happened.
oh yeah,
Well, I remember because like I kind of wrote their introductions in 2, and me and you talked about it a little bit. We really wanted them to be likable, just because the prince was going to be so obnoxious. So they had to be a little bit endearing.
I love that their little weapons, they're like halberds / trumpets.
Yeah.
That was a really fun design thing that we came up with. Yeah, man, the animators had so much fun with this character.
I just noticed the little kiss that like one of the soldiers does on his hand in that previous shot.
yeah. We
There's so many little things
so
like that.
pulling the curtain back for a second. We're recording these commentaries out of order, so I cannot remember if I said this yet or not. I apologize, but I definitely did because it was episode 1. Anyways, because we were working from home for this whole volume, and we did less motion capture, we did more hanky animation, and I think this episode hugely benefited from it.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
there's definitely a world where a lot of the prince's performances would have been mocapped, and they still would have been great. But being able to like really push them with Hanky and go like way beyond, I think just completely sold.
I love that
this character.
The prince like hates the green sword. You know, green is sort of anathema to him. Like he lives under this green sky. This is like the one thing he can't control. That was like influenced by another artist, not Escher, but I think his name is Giorgio de Chirico. He's another kind of surrealist person from like the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah, I remember you and Aaron having a lot of talks about, you know, different art styles that kind of like blended together, and how we get these like crazy giant abstract chess pieces, or you know, chess-like pieces, you know.
Erin, I do need to give a special shout out for this episode, because she did a lot of work personally on like designing some of these elements. I know we went really deep on creating the chess pieces. Later on, we actually went in a totally different direction and kind of had to like, you know, just figuring out what worked best. But this shot, I was obsessed with this shot. This is a specific Escher shot, and like, you know, there's a piece that has this perspective where we see these four sides, and they're all a different perspective. And I was obsessed with the idea of translating that into a 3D moving shot.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
It turned out great.
Yeah, it's really great. Whenever
I love how everybody thought that the butterfly mattered so much. Like, that was my favorite. Sorry, Dustin.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, whenever I took that over, Connor actually had left already, and I was so scared to like approve that shot, because it was like Connor's baby, and I was just like, what if I miss something and Connor sees it and he's like, no, that was like, you know, my vision has been compromised or something.
Turned out awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what was it like seeing all this done after stepping away from it?
Oh, it was really fun. I mean, it turned out so good. I feel like the stuff that I really wasn't here for was like the music, so I hadn't heard any of that. And you know, the cue that they came up with for the fight scene is like, so it's very different from the temp we have, but it has so much energy and like it feels like sort of a classic Rwby vibe. And I think people really responded to that and like that.
Which it tends to be like kind of how we do music a lot with you know, them is we kind of say like, we want to try something like this in this like crazy direction, and they take it and they find like the Rwby version of that.
This moment, there needed to be a real shift in tone to like the stakes being real. Love these little.
Well, Connor, you and I worked a lot together on taking the script that I had written and then kind of moving some things around and breaking it up so that we weren't like info dumping anything at one particular section. That was a suggestion you made that I really, really loved, was how do we intersperse the information we need to learn with the excitement and activity going on in front of us with the prince.
Totally. Yeah, I had so much fun working with you, and like, there was a lot of challenges with this episode, like, explaining the rules of the game, but not slowing down the momentum to do it. And then also like Ruby's energy and performance in this, it's at the end of episode 2, she's in such a low place. Like she's, you know, utterly depressed, and we need to carry that through for the overall season, but also for this episode, we really need more energy from her, and she sort of has to engage with this game. So in a way, she's sort of like carrying that depression, but putting it away for the sake of her friends to, you know, try to get us thing done.
Which is like kind of like one last example. I mean, I guess them shrinking too, but it's like another example rather of what she always has to do is put everything else before herself.
Right. And at the end of this, you see she's at an even lower place, possibly, because she tried this and failed in her eyes once again.
Sorry, there's one little detail I love when they all land after being small and Yang just face plants on the chessboard. Cracks me up every time.
Yeah, there's that little detail of her like trying to stop herself from shrinking, and her arm like pops back and punches her in the face. Oh, he's so smarmy.
God, I love this bit.
I love how he came out. The vocal performance on him is just phenomenal and like exactly what I imagined.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was you know, Kiersey, what you and Connor were talking about earlier. It was kind of this section and the rules section, I think, were originally kind of like closer together, or like some of this conversation was happening before the game started.
One then the other.
Yeah, it was basically it was getting it all through before the game started. But then once we we're getting into the animatic phase and board phase, it was like we can intersperse this more.
Right. We have to like seed his kind of growing suspicion that there's something going on here, that she's not a usual opponent.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about this other places, but one of the things that, you know, we had for this episode, one of the goals was, and even going into the season, it's like we want to have one fight that feels like early Rwby, because we hadn't seen like the 4 of them against like a huge number of opponents in a while, and this seemed like the perfect spot to do it. I just really love how everything came together for it.
I love Little's participation as like a spectator here too. Like when they're
Cheering them on with the
they're
leaves.
waving the leaves. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved also just how all the action turned out in this episode. Like just jumping off of, this fight really feels like old Rwby. I put some scene direction in here, but a lot of things I put in awesome team attack in the script. And like what became of that was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I always love it when that was our goal, was to make it feel that way, and when that was actually what the comments were. I love seeing that.
Yeah. Also, can I call out the design on the pieces? Like the art design on the pieces is so cool. I really love the way that, the white pieces just look like they've gone through hell and back. You can tell that they're always just getting kicked out of them.
They look kind of dumpy and
like a few iterations of them, right, Connor, when y'all were designing them?
Yeah, there was an initial one where they did not look like chess pieces, really. They were sort of more like action figure-y or something, or like kind of samurai inspired.
And we got pretty far. They didn't get modeled, but I think we were getting pretty far through concept with them, and when we kind of had to take a step back and think like, do they feel like a game enough? I think it was part of it.
Yeah, and they needed to be simpler also. I think like the facial expressions, like seeing those eyes, does a lot of things.
Yeah, and something we talked about.
They managed to have so much expression.
Yeah. I think having the I think that was another thing too, is like the red ones, the evil ones. Like I think we originally had more to them, but I think we realized like, really their purpose is to serve this, like you just look at them and you can tell they're the bad pieces, they're the prince pieces. Let's move on so we can put effort into other things.
Right. I love this little spotlight dramatic.
I love this.
Yeah, it's like like everything else
So dramatic.
in the Ever After. They have one purpose, and that's to lose the white ones and the red ones. And like, just communicating that like in a glance is essential.
At least I think.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll go with it. Why not?
Little is like the audience sometimes. I feel like.
And there we see the curious cat eyes.
The first
time. Yeah. And now we've built.
This was so well done.
Yes, this moment of like, the prince has this deep trauma from his previous encounters. So like, this is like the moment that's too much for him, finding out that she's human.
How do we do that shot? Was that was there a version of the prince that had the crack built in, and we just kind of transitioned between the two in the shot? Do y'all remember?
I'm not sure.
I think that
There was a version of it where the crack went away. I remember that.
I think that Com just drew it on.
Drew it on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
all right.
I think that's what it is, though.
Yeah. Typically, with that kind of stuff, we have kind of like two versions.
Like
of the
maybe
model.
Aaron did the
crack. Yeah.
the art for it.
That makes sense.
We did talk about like at one point having his face still continue to be like falling apart, like deteriorating progressively over the course of the episode. But that was one of those things. It's just like it's more difficult than it's.
It's actually going to be worth. Yeah.
It's.
I'm going to say one of my favorite details in that early little sequence right there is that Weiss just straight up cuts one of them in half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very violent.
Weiss is savage in this fight.
Like.
Well, that's definitely something I made sure to put in the script, was that Weiss gets to really be like a sword fighter. We get to see that that place that she came from, of being just a really, really, really good on the ground kind of fighter too.
Carrie, there was two versions of the model.
There was? Okay, there you go. Okay. Yeah.
I just meant for the one where it animates on.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
I like Little always kind of imitating what Rwby is speaking. That's my favorite.
I love split screens.
Yeah, there's a lot of those
shot.
this episode.
Yeah. That shot, there's some, I don't say like issues, but that camera, we had to like adjust a good bit, right?
Yeah, that shot was the thing for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also just like working at this scale, too, for the assets. I mean, like,
Oh, man, that was
everything
a whole-
is actually. Do we end up shrinking everything down, or are Rwby and the Prince big? I can't remember.
We have small versions of the other.
It's both, right?
Yeah, I think you had to kind of map some of that out, didn't you, Connor?
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
I
far
don't
as,
remember
like,
the deal. I don't think that they have like giant versions.
Okay,
of them.
okay,
I
I
think
could-
they
Oh
were
yeah,
just
yeah,
normal
no,
size and
it's
things.
regular and then small.
Yeah. Okay.
But what version of who we're seeing in which shot might?
Right. Like if you can't see Ruby in a shot, there's a chance that like the other ones are like full scale. I think. I can't remember. Who knows?
I love.
Here they are.
Be so distraught.
There's so much good.
I was. Oh, sorry.
No, there's so much good cat
I was
animation.
so lucky to get to write this guy.
Yeah.
Surely you
Uh,
don't want to be
This was another thing that the animators had a lot of fun with. Like, I mean, I say fun. It's quadruped animation. It's hard,
Yeah.
but like, just studying actual references of cats and like looking up cute poses. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
And a lot went into the cat's design. One thing you might notice is they don't have an exterior outline, which is something we want to do to kind of make them feel a little bit different, draw a little more attention to them, make them feel a little bit more integrated into this world. But it's also one of those things that's like kind of strangely annoying to deal with when you have an entire pipeline where every single character always has
Has
an
to draw
outside
it.
line, and then to have one character not have it constantly. Big shout out to the Vizpost team and our team for making that work.
I'll say from a writing standpoint with the cat, we all had a lot of fun writing the cat's lines, but I think it ended up being kind of like serendipitous side effect of kind of the cat's characterization that Kiersey got to write them first, because I feel like Kiersey you set such a great tone that we were all able to kind of like piggyback off of. I just think it ended up working out very, very well that you were the first person to kind of get to set this character up.
They were so much fun to write. It was a blast, and I got another good chunk of them too in another episode that I wrote, and it was really, really fun. Just like
I love that shot.
Nothing this creature makes sense, but then it also kind of makes sense at the same time, which fits perfectly with everything in the Ever After.
I love that whole last sequence.
Yeah, that was some stuff that we usually will build out the whole set, but those we did actually like hybrid matte paintings and sets and then matte paintings painted over them for the details. Turned out to be good.
Yeah, when it comes to one-off stuff, a lot of times it's just so much more of an investment to actually build it in 3D.
Yeah. We're kind of introduced to the cat in this high energy, high stakes environment, and then we kind of get into this scene that's like kind of creepy and liminal, and I think, it's sort of an interesting. We start to actually interact with this character and try to understand like what their angle is, what their substance is.
I think it was important. Obviously we don't want to tip our hand to the fact that the cat is evil and has other motives. So I think really trying to start with this like very fun, aloof, and constantly just kind of like you don't know what the cat's gonna say next kind of attitude. So anything that you could maybe interpret as being a sign of malintent is also just maybe they're just weird.
Right. We're constantly flip-flopping between sort of a playful side and a slightly sinister.
How can that cat be evil? Look at that.
I know.
interesting as the others I've met. What about? Hold that thought.
What's the deal with this cat?
I just love the flexibility of that character too, to explore the environment. Like it's always interacting with the environment in some way and always like drawing the story forward.
Would you say
It's
they're?
like, oh, where's the cat going now?
Would you say they're curious?
So the cat?
Rocking horsefly.
More of the butterflies that everybody read way too deeply into.
I'm almost always surprised by this Neo scene at the end because I always forget it's right here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if in an earlier version of like the outliner scripts, if it was in a different episode.
I don't think it was in this originally, and then we realized like it needed to be for some reason. And this episode is already like quite long.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I
it's
think it's like
this
one of,
episode
if not the
moves.
longest.
I think it might have been in. I can't remember where it was, but I don't think
Yeah.
it started here. Yeah.
Part of me wants to say, and I think I'm wrong. I think part of me wants to say it was almost maybe in 1, but we didn't want to introduce Neo too early.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. This happened so long ago, but yeah, I do like it though, because I think that it ended up being kind of a good sinister end cap to
A fun.
although they have this new problem of being small, ultimately it was a very fun episode, you know.
Amps up the stakes quite a bit.
It does, and I think we also didn't want to wait too long. I think that may have actually been it. We didn't want to wait too long before seeing Neo, so I think we wanted to make sure it happened earlier than later.
This was fun. Thanks, y'all.
Neo's scary. Hey everybody, we're here for chapter 4. It's still me, Carrie. We also got
Eddie.
And hi, this is Miles. I wrote on this episode, yay!
and
Dustin. I directed this episode.
yay, we're all here.
God, it's been a long time since sitting together to do a commentary. This feels good. This is
Yeah.
nice.
We had to do the last one remote, so it's nice to actually be back.
All of it.
I
Yeah,
think I did the last one from inside my closet at my house.
it's weird. You wanted to be in the closet here, like, but we were like, no, come out. It's okay, Dustin. You can hang out with us.
That's right.
I want to say I feel like all of us had a lot of fun writing for the cat. Specifically.
Oh yeah, the cat was just like, hey, do you really want to be like adorable and obnoxious all the time with everything you say? Like, this is great. It's so much fun coming up with his little
My friends
curios. That's what I'll call his line. His little curios.
The animators had a lot of fun with that too,
Yeah.
because the way the dialogue is and stuff, it's almost like Dr. Seussy or something, like the way he speaks here. So, performance for the cat was always fun.
I still remember with this episode, like, with every episode, we always do some trims and stuff like that. And my first response to anything was like, we can trim anything as long as it's not the butt joke.
I was when I heard those
joke,
terms, I was like,
gotta
please,
say.
please tell me the butt joke's still there.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing.
Yeah,
That was never going anywhere.
no,
Thanks, guys.
never.
Thank you.
The cats are fun, and Rwby did such a great job with the cat.
Yeah, I just can't not look at them. Every time they move, every time they say something, the overall design, like everything about the cat turned out so beautiful, and I'm so grateful to the team who brought them to life.
Well, and the big balance was, and we talked about this, we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but like the big balance with the cat was like, they're so weird and otherworldly, and we wanted that like mystery, but we didn't want to like telegraph or tip the hand about the betrayal coming up.
It was tough.
Honestly, it was kind of like, when in doubt, have them do cat things. Yeah. Because everybody, so chase a butterfly, chase your own tail, be curious. Like, playing with the scroll was like, this is so important, just to try and like muddy the waters on where we're going with this character.
Well, and I just remember us also making like this spans multiple episodes, but like trying to make sure a real clear distinction that, no matter like maybe how they're acting or talking or whatever, on paper, the cat was only bringing positives until, the turn in chapter 6, rescuing them, giving them information, helping them get back, bigger again, in beginning.
Are you sure they're not called the constantly annoying cat?
So good.
It's no mistake that everybody had a ton of fun with Weiss this volume.
Oh yeah.
Best girl.
Yeah.
Just because they don't want to go.
This part's great because there's the thing where the cat's flying.
Okay.
And I don't think it's called out that the cat can fly, but I think I remember asking you, Carrie, like,
Yeah.
can it fly? Where's the limit of, like, how much can it fly or float? The tricky thing for the scene that's coming up, right, is that the characters are so small and they're in Ruby's little hood thing, but the cat would be on the ground if he couldn't fly. So, like, it gave us a cool way to shoot it because the cat can come up and, like, talk to them and stuff.
They can, they can float.
Yeah, float. That's what it is.
Essentially, I think the rule that we came up with in writing was if the Looney Tunes can do it, then the cat can do it. Like the cat like had, that like fourth wall breaking cartoon logic around
Like
them.
Acme gravity.
Exactly.
What is this?
Oh my gosh, I just love watching them move and do things.
Yeah.
It is painting tiny flat versions of me. Is that what I look like, smiling?
What was it like for the animation team having a quadrupedal character so prominently featured in a volume? Because that's not something that we've done often.
We talked about Little with Little, but go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think that the animators did a great job with it.
Yeah.
I don't think they minded it or whatever. I think the challenge for us, like production-wise, I think was more the rigging department.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much y'all talked about that, but
Just a little bit. I mean, the nice thing about the cat was that, like, with Little, we wanted them to be, full quadruped or full biped. The cat, definitely has more of a kind of like a biped side, but not full on, kind of like up on two. So we're able to kind of keep that a little bit more to like quadruped. Overall, not easy. That and all of like the different like splitting apart and things like that. A lot of them like are like multiple rigs brought together, and then like the effects team will fill in
the checkers,
checkers in between. I think it's one of those things where it, you know, I'm sure there's probably a couple of animators swearing at me right now, but like I think like on paper it all sounds really scary, but I got the impression a lot of people enjoyed the challenge.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
Oh, there was a fun thing here too. Whenever the cat is floating, where there's a shot, it just passed, but where they're kind of like walking, but on air. So that's like an animation challenge to figure out the physics of like it's floating, but also it should look like it's walking, but it's not on ground.
You need something to kind of like still push them along.
We had to like find the balance of like what that looks like.
Before we get too far from the scene, so at the time that we're recording this, I think like about half of the volume's been aired publicly.
Yeah.
And so we've had the privilege of getting to see some fan reaction to the episodes. Something that has struck me as so funny is this in the scene where we're getting kind of meta fourth wall breaky commentary with the cat. I read so many comments that were like, oh, haha, like the writers are kind of poking fun at like, fandom criticism, whatever. Y'all, there's no harder critics on ourselves than us. And I was like, hey, cool. I'm going to really use this scene to poke at all the things that I've wanted to say to the old me for years.
There's so many characters to keep track of. Line is the one I feel like is the dead giveaway for that.
Oh my God, every time. I remember we did... there was one time where we put together a list of every character in the show, and I wanted to just like walk off the edge of the Titanic. I'm done. I can't.
I also want to say before we get too far away from that scene, my favorite line with retrospect, once you see more of the volume, is the cat's delivery on like, oh, I'd certainly say so, about Alex learning her lesson.
Yes.
It's so sinister and dark, once you have the full picture.
About this scene, I was gonna say this like location is not really called out in the script. Like the way the script is, they're all still in the meadow, but we had been in the meadow for like so long for 3.
Right, like
and then
the end of 3.
This conversation was pretty long, and we had designed the mushroom clearing, and then I had to ask production like, can we see more of that and like split the conversation between these two, like, and so we see the transition now from like the 2 acres.
It feels so good.
I think it was a great call for sure.
Yeah, I think that kind of also helps us establish like those like acre separations.
Which I think we get at the end of 3 too. So this is the second bridge.
Yeah.
I guess.
I'm a big fan of the rest of night was handsome.
Yeah.
A little line here too.
I remember everybody was like, white knight shippers ride. This was a fun.
I love this environment.
The environment's so good. The vibe of the herbalist is so much fun. In leading up to this, one of our kind of like goals was to essentially say, hey, if there's ever something we can make Rwby blame herself for, do it. So even little things of, oh, I wasn't paying attention to the cat for a second, just like add it to the pile, add it to the pile, add it to the pile.
That pile? The leaf pile?
As we approach this pile that is filled with so much introspection.
Yeah, it was like the auction, the losing the board game, right? Like now they're small, then it was losing track of the cat. Yeah, any time that there could be something else for her to put on her shoulders.
Even in the next episode too. It's like, hey, Rwby, we bought all the shopping list stuff.
Yeah.
What have you been doing? Talking to nothing? Gosh, talking about wild rigging and animations. Again, I love how the herbalist turned out. I just love looking at him.
Yeah, I can't remember, we had like a good number of face shapes for him, but like, did we end up having to reduce it a little bit?
Yeah, it was pretty limited, like what his mouth can do and stuff, and like even the eyes. But we had like an expression sheet, but it was more.
It was a lot less.
Than, yeah.
I mean, like a typical human character probably has like 30-ish, 40 like different like mouth phenome
and his was
shapes.
Like probably 9 dots or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but
everybody did a great job still getting like a good bit of expression out of him. And I mean, part of his character too is to be a little cold and standoffish too, so that helped out a lot.
In the ramp up to writing this volume, I read and watched Alice in Wonderland, and because obviously we wanted to do a lot of our own stuff with our own kind of version of Wonderland and things like that. But I just remember just seeing the caterpillar puff away on his hookah and going, you, and I just could not get that line out of my head and getting to do this whole episode kind of around one of my favorite scenes from that movie and book was just like an absolute privilege.
I kept worrying that they were gonna maybe say that we couldn't show them smoking or something.
worried about
like,
that
I wasn't
too.
sure, and I have a shot where it's just like a super close up of their mouth on the hookah, and I was like, are they gonna tell me to change that or something? Like,
Hey, guess
it never came.
Guess what? You just
It
don't
made
ask.
it in. Yeah.
I remember when we were kind of working our way towards, you know, we had figured out kind of like, oh, this episode's the auction, this episode's the chess game, this episode's the caterpillar, right? And we kind of know what a lot of some of the bigger beats in the episode, but then when it gets time to like delve into more like episode specific stuff, that's when we kind of break apart and spend a little bit more time. And I feel like I remember for this one that we were having kind of a little bit of trouble dialing it in until we solved some of the problems later about like the cat not fulfilling their function in the ever after since Alex showed up. And the cat not fulfilling their function means a lot of things aren't working the way they're supposed to, and I think that was the thing that helped this dial in more.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
My work is never done.
Before we get into the next room, Dustin, I just remember the mortar and pestle being really important to you because you cook a lot and like you have one and use one, stuff like that. I just remember like that being on your list of like, we gotta get this.
I had I think sent Aaron a picture of like what mine was or something, or the one that I had. They ended up doing one that was way cooler, so I was like, okay, yeah, that's fair, but it was important. There was like some, I think in the script it calls out that the room's like full of like tools and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was actually called out in the script, but like the scale and like some of that other stuff in there, it says it's full of things, whatever. But
like
we had to like come up with
things,
like different things that the caterpillar could be doing.
Yeah.
Just answer the question.
I love how. And I think that again, that's part of the reason was for the cat, but like I love how intimidating this is for them.
Yeah.
The door closes behind them. And the caterpillar, obviously does not have any ill intent that he knows of because this is the ever after and this is how it works. But for them in this moment, for it to kind of be so scary, and then again, for the cat to come in and save them, thus furthering this, like, nope, the cat's only doing good, saving them again.
The cat's got dibs, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, the cat, I remember we had talked about it a little bit, that kind of like, okay, what is the cat doing when the cat's not there? And it was like, no, the cat wanted to scope out which of the 4 girls was the weakest.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to before.
Shout out to that shot of the smoke of Yang forming. That was in the boards, and I remember being like, can we do this?
Yeah.
And then, the effects team like super came through. And the first time I saw it, it like blew my mind.
I love this scene so much. Ever since like animatic version of it, like every time I've watched it, it like brought me to tears.
Man, I wanted to live in this scene forever. The toughest thing, earlier talking about like establishing the rules and stuff, it's one thing to do world building for an entire series, but this was kind of like we had to do, like we'd had the idea of doing an Alice in Wonderland kind of place removed since before the first season. Yeah. But like, the details weren't worked out, right? So there's a lot of like world building stuff that you're already having to, throw together a whole volume's worth of writing and story and character arcs under like tight deadlines. Then like figuring all that stuff out, establishing all of it, and then it's like, okay, and we need to have like a really emotional, introspective thing. And so it was just like the big challenge was, okay, essentially each girl gets like 2 lines. Yeah. And like even now there's stuff that I'd want to do differently, but at the end of the day, given the time we had to work with and like seeing what the team was able to do with just these small little conversations, it makes me so happy.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with how this shot came out too.
Yeah.
It's all one thing.
Yeah.
And it was pretty hard to do like across departments, like just for the camera to be doing that. And I remember even when we were planning the episode, asking Carrie, like, I know we don't, because we want the show to look kind of 2D, we don't do big orbits like this, but I was like, if there's a time to do it, like now is it, let's do it.
Do you remember, was that one long shot or was that like 3 sub shots?
It is
like
technically all
together.
one shot, but they did have to split out parts of it to even like render it, I think. So,
I will say before we get to this, the Weiss stuff you wrote in this episode, Miles, is like some of my favorite in the entire series.
Thanks, man. That cut to Rwby is a punch to the gut every time. Y'all, oh my gosh.
Always knew what to do.
Yeah, and Dustin, I I think you reached out and like wanted to do this episode. But
Yeah.
I also like you're the first one to jump to my mind just because I mean you've been here since Volume 1, and so I mean to like
Yeah, get this scene. Yeah, for sure.
to be able to represent these characters again. Was it like 8, 9 years, 10 years later?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, whenever we first got the scripts, I was really excited about 3 and really excited about 4 because they kind of come in waves, and I was like, but this scene is the one where I was like, no, definitely want 4.
You crushed it, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of crushing it, shout out to the VAs.
Yeah,
oh my
seriously.
goodness,
Yeah.
what incredible performances.
Yeah, it's I mean it's so tough to talk to yourself like that, like, and everybody kind of had to get into mindset because everybody's literally grown in the last decade, but I mean their characters have developed. I mean like they really in some ways are voicing a completely different character in this moment.
Lindsay had they had to strike the balance between like being that cheery old version of Rwby, but also like kind of menacing and creepy.
Yeah,
we actually
very thin line.
Yeah, we actually re-recorded a lot of those lines,
Yeah.
if not all of them, because the first one was more creepy. Like we
went too far I think the first time.
Yeah, and we
and we realized that like it was just like a little too much, and then we did it again, and yeah, we found like this kind of balance between.
yeah.
I do apologize.
Whoa, vibe check.
It's a bit much.
That was a bit harsh. Y'all need some water
I've got some snacks in the other room.
in the basement. Bye.
A little.
Oh, I found the cat.
Don't go to secondary location, kids.
And we're on to chapter 5. Still me, still Carrie. We also got
Eddie, head writer on Volume 9.
This is Paula Decanini. I directed this episode.
And this is Kiersey, the writer on this episode.
I still love these
and
mushrooms.
Oh God, I know.
You're the one who did just
Big shout out to Paula on this because I know there was absolute metric boatloads of stuff in this script that for various reasons couldn't make it into the final.
Yeah, there was some really fun
the
stuff in
choices-
that episode, in those scripts. Really, really delightful, fun stuff.
I mean, this was definitely probably our most asset dense episode.
Yeah.
Even after doing some trims. Thankfully, we were able to, because this was kind of the gathering place for the characters, we were able to, or for this world, we were able to like reuse a lot of assets because it's people coming in from different or ever afterans coming in from different acres. But it's a big episode. There's a lot happening.
I just want to say shout out to both of you because it's a lot of exposition that happens in this opening sequence, and to be able to write it in a way that is entertaining and engaging and with kind of a delicate hand, even though it's like very exposition heavy, but then also to be able to direct it in a way so that visually it's really interesting. I just think it's cool because this episode's already come out, and just seeing fan reactions and things like that, like it's a very engaging episode.
Yeah, somebody referred to it as very Ghibli-esque, and I was like, oh, my heart, thank you. What a compliment. Yeah, because this was totally inspired by Spirited Away. Yeah, I think because we were going to have a long dialogue part, I think we wanted to make sure we showed kind of the beauty of this world. We wanted this kind of visual to go with this description of, hey, everyone returns to the source when they die. So visually, everyone's going to this one direction. Just kind of make those ideas parallel.
It's just a very calm moment after
Yes.
the last couple like really frantic episodes, and what's going to happen at the end of this episode. It's nice to have this kind of calm moment.
We also tried to put a lot of performance of the cat, this kind of coyness, like put a little bit of like hinting of what's to come with the cat. So a lot of my direction was when the other girls are talking to the cat's kind of distracted, looking away, not really engaging. But when Rwby talks, that's when the cat suddenly is like perking up and paying attention to her and being cute and coy.
Well, and we talked about, in chapter 4, the cat actually having, the girls go to Herb and talk with themselves. Like the cat is now kind of at this point scoped out. oh, maybe this Rwby girl.
Yeah.
Maybe she's the one that I need to be paying attention to. So yeah, that detail is great, Paula.
Nurture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and this whole section here, because I think originally I had written most of this exposition is going on while they were on the lily pad, and the choice to have it all happen dynamically while they were exploring this place was so brilliant, and I think really, like you said, really showcases all the amazing work that was done to build this environment.
Yeah, they did. The art team did so great with
Oh, yeah.
this. I'm really happy with how this cool lily pad market
It feels very
turned out.
full.
Yes, yeah. And that was the trick. We wanted to make sure it was very colorful, very vibrant. It felt like this world is something we've never seen before, but also something very special, and yeah.
I will say that one of it's still one of my favorite bits that didn't make it in. There was a whole thing with with a vendor or someone that was tending to the same tree that Jean pulled the clock from.
Alligator.
Yeah, and it was
The
like,
ringmaster.
someone had stolen his clock, and actually that was Jean that had just recently done it after having recently fallen.
Yeah.
But my favorite gag in that is that at one point the alligator starts crying and cries gigantic crocodile tears, and just the way it was worded in the script always cracked me up.
Yeah, that was one we're really bummed about, but it was just
one too many.
It was just a very complex rig for a one-off thing, and we just had to pick our battles.
But man, that rig looked good.
It did.
Oh, it would have been great.
Yeah.
And then I think we had Billy Burson do the voice, and he did so great with it.
Yeah.
It was a shame, but that one had to get cut.
Yeah.
But I do like this little vendor we have here, trying to entice Rwby with the guitar.
It's not working.
There's a couple of gags that you put in here, Kirsty, that I just love. One of my favorite ones also is later with the fireworks that spell out danger.
Yeah.
Danger. Oh gosh, I love Littles so much, and I'm glad that they get some real attention in the blacksmith scene in this episode that I think is really necessary for building out their storylines specifically and where it's going to end up.
This transition moment I thought turned out really, really well.
Oh, I was so nervous
Really
about this
good.
one. I'm
It was a lot
glad
of
it
work.
turned out.
Yeah, it was a lot of work to figure out how do we want to make things like fade away, and just the idea that it went from all these individual things that's just like repeated tent.
How do we make this feel dreamy
Eddie and I-
and not like just broken?
Right.
Right. And I remember that Eddie and I spent so much time on just this sequence, just this scene, and making sure that the dialogue was exactly what we wanted it to be, to build what we needed to build with the blacksmith.
I love this scene.
And I really always appreciate Eddie's little kind of tweaks and stuff like that.
That first shot where we see the backlit, blacksmith with the fire, I just every time.
Yeah.
I'm just it's just so good.
I remember we spent a long time figuring out
No.
when is the right time to introduce the blacksmith. Seeing her a little bit more than we ended up seeing her in the in the final version, but I'm happy with where it landed. Right after the encounter with herself.
Yeah, it seemed like the right time to have the next piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ever after itself is now reaching out to Rwby directly. Yeah.
I really liked just everything about this character, the design, because she looks like she should be terrifying. She's enormous.
It's a very
she's
intimidating
metal.
scene.
Yep.
But I think the voice actress really nailed it in giving her this kind of calm, soothing voice. Like this is a powerful creature, entity, but you're not meant to be frightened of her.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of weight behind what she's saying,
Right.
Exactly.
A lot of gravity.
Yeah.
Built like a truck,
Yeah.
talks like a therapist.
Oh, and then this moment, I know that we were building up to this in the writer's room, of just when is the moment that we get to see her for the first time? in this
right,
season.
right before we recorded this, I read a comment that somebody said, "Is that Summer Rose's weapon?" And it's like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it is.
it is.
Not just yet, but Ruby, come on. We got
Well, and we also had with the cat in episode 4 saying like, "Don't talk to anybody without me,"
Right.
which sounds like a very caretaking kind of thing.
After what happened in 3 and 4, that's
Yeah.
exactly what led them in that situation.
Yeah, but really, the cat really wanted to control who had access to Ruby, and we
Yeah.
like the idea that the cat didn't even understand in this moment, or it's unsure or it's unclear whether the cat understood exactly what Ruby was dealing with.
One of the things that I really enjoyed about writing this episode, and I think it comes in the final version, it's so hard because you're seeing Ruby's friends just being like, oh, well, Ruby is Ruby and Ruby's gonna do Ruby stuff. So, if
That's
like Weiss being almost a little bit mean of like, oh, Ruby, come on now. But us, the audience, saying, oh no, but Ruby desperately
Yeah.
needs support right now.
Yeah, I think that was the line we wanted to walk because Ruby is our hero. We're used to seeing her being able to take charge in a situation. She is at such a loss, like in this episode. Like she's still shaken, I think, from the previous episode.
Yeah.
And
But
yeah,
she's objectively the one that does have to step up because she is normal
the only
size.
one who can protect him.
Right. So it's like, it's simultaneously.
And all she
like,
can do is run.
Exactly,
Yeah.
It makes sense for them to look to her, but it's also just another notch or like another ring of that bell.
I'll also say that I really love the mother's promise moment,
Yes.
right? Like the bartering and the ever after. The Ruby
Yeah.
kind of understands it, and just a little nod that we're gonna come back to this later.
Yeah. I loved it. It did begin like one of the like most annoying continuity error fixes we had to do for the rest of the volume.
Yeah.
Well, it's a
But-
big deal when we have to do it too, because
Yeah.
I know for you specifically, anytime the 4 main girls have something that gets altered, it's just kind of a big deal.
It
right?
is. And it's just another thing.
Yes.
That all it takes is one person to just be like just to forget in that moment, and now, later we got to go and fix it. So I'm sure we missed some, but I don't.
Here comes the boy.
I've
been excited about this for so many years
I
now.
know.
I think this is definitely one of my favorite songs of the volume. I think just on a personal level too. Like this is just like the kind of stuff I listen to.
finally.
Yeah.
Oh, and going back to the alligator in the tree, originally the hawker that the cat
Yes.
kind of takes control of and possesses and uses was originally going to be an alligator, which felt, okay, cool, alligator, throw the alligator into the fight, and then when it became a bird, I was like, oh, this poor bird.
I know, my precious little bird boy.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for him.
I love him.
Yeah, when we see his demise, the animator was like very brutal with it, and I was like, no, keep it. It hurts, but yes, keep it. That's very good.
Oh, the shot.
Yeah, and I think we also wanted to make it clear, like, as soon as these girls are back, they're right. They know what they're doing. Like, they make short work of this Jabberwocker. It's a false sense of security, though, because, oh no, there's so many of them.
I love Jean's reaction though.
Yeah.
Like he's about to dive in and help them, and he's like, "Oh,
Nah,
they don't need
got
me."
it. Like, yeah,
They got
we
it.
gave him a little nod, like, yeah, nice work. Yeah, and this was another like insidious little moment of the cat, like, we got this, don't worry. And then she looks back, where's the cat?
Yeah.
Like the cat's gone. The cat wasn't even there.
I love this moment coming up here with Weiss.
Oh, I love this moment too. Yeah, this because because we wanted to show. I wanted to show like Weiss is dealing with her own trauma from the last
She's
season.
not just magically fixed after
No.
having that monologue in
Yeah.
chapter 4. Yeah.
And watching everybody have to flee again, everybody have to evacuate again. And
it just
I love that Ruby steps into that moment really well.
yeah, I mean it's her nature, and it's you know, it's also just like what's gotten her into this position of always doing that now.
But she also takes that a little personal
Yeah.
when Weiss says, "I'm tired of walking away from ruins."
Yeah, because I mean she's effectively saying, yeah,
our fault.
it's our fault, and you're our leader. That's just another example of like saying it without realizing that she's saying it. I also just
I love Blake
yes,
fanboying here.
being able to have Blake be like the book nerd again and like have that be a part of the story is great.
Oh no, he's hot.
All right, chapter 6. It's this one. Hello again. It's me, Carrie. I was one of the directors in this episode. I'm joined by Eddie, who
I wrote this episode.
I'm also joined by
Issa, I also directed this episode.
and again by
Laura, I produced this episode.
you produced this whole darn season.
That is true.
Yes. So yeah, the Jean episode, as we all internally call it, right?
That's the only way that we reference this episode.
Yeah.
I do think it's hilarious. And
We
I
have to
feel-
wait to talk about the other things.
Yes.
Let's talk about this stuff.
Well, the-
Other thing.
past the halfway point.
I do feel bad that the audience has spent so because this episode's about to air like this week when we're recording
yeah.
this. Maybe that's okay to say.
Yeah, fine.
Just edit
But
it.
we were joking about how everyone has all these theories about like how did John end up, like did he exchange his identity, did he do this, and our local himbo just like picked a clock fruit off a tree.
Yeah.
And really that's what happened.
I'm trying to remember exactly. Like, I think we just came. Originally, it was just like we just wanted something different to happen with Jean, and then I think we thought about the idea of like let's age him up. I think partially, you know, as I can't remember which came first, chicken or egg kind of thing. Like I can't remember. The first idea was just like it would be interesting to have him be old, but I think from the core of it was actually him having to be on his own after his traumatic ending of Volume 8.
Yeah, there was an opportunity that nobody else knew he was down here. I think was like the really big opportunity that we had, and we loved the idea once we really started settling in on the Ever After idea and like the Alice in Wonderland story. That maybe Jean, who like had always wanted to be the hero,
Yeah.
got to play the hero in this other story that they were all familiar with, and that was the thing I think that led us to kind of that idea of like, okay, well, how can Jean have been here for a while?
I will say that I've never thought of Jean as a himbo. He is 100% a twink, and then at this point, he's just very aged, like aged twink.
Is that what should go down? Is that an otter?
Is that an otter?
I don't know.
It's an otter.
Well, I'll Google it later. Don't worry.
Okay, don't worry. Edit this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how this works. I do love this moment. I think there was one line that didn't make it in about how when he first saw them at the market, like that this place will play tricks on you sometimes. You know, it's just one small line that I always really liked, just this idea that he doesn't even like trust what he sees anymore in the Ever After because he's had so many bad experiences.
Oh,
Well, this episode as a whole is, I think, was really difficult. You know, in terms of this plot of it, or you know, this plot line of it, of just like Jean is so in the middle right now.
Yeah.
You know, he's the Jean that we know and
Liminal
we care about him, and exactly. But he's been through some things.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, he's not all there. And obviously, spoiler alert. Please watch the episodes before you watch the commentary. You know, I think we were able to use that to kind of help make sure that the cat didn't seem too evil right away either.
Right.
You know, the cat's calling out Jean, but the cat kind of has a point.
Yeah.
Well, and then even seeing Jean kind of like lose his patience a little bit in this scene and have like he hasn't even been reunited with him for very long, and he's kind of already lost patience with the like, yeah, I went through this whole process years and years ago.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Well, and because of that, we're constantly like cutting between the experience of someone who's lived in this world and had this experience, and maybe where Jean started is similar to where Team Ruby is now.
Right.
And so you're kind of guessing, how they're going to evolve through this experience.
Right. And you know, we wanted it. You know, the whole first half of this episode is you know, feeling the girls feel a huge relief.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, they don't just have Little who knows some information and is kind of here to help them. They have somebody they know who's now been here and knows the ins and outs, and this is going to be great. And in this episode, and especially in the next episode, we find out it's not going to be just easy and great now, you know?
Yeah, we liked the complication kind of right here, right after this thing that was seemingly good, meeting Jean, this like complication of like, oh wait, this story that we've been following, it's not real. Like not at all the way we thought it was. And then it's like, okay, well then maybe we'll follow Jean. And then it's like, oh wait, Jean has figured out and achieved basically anything, you know, in his entire time here.
Yeah. Issa, I thought you did a great job with all this part, by the way.
Oh, thanks. I was wondering, is like, oh yeah, I wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
because I'll probably say it.
Yeah, we should talk about
at
like
some
how we
point.
split. Why this episode has two
Yeah,
directors.
like you got busy, Carrie.
We kind of had this movie going on. So I had kind of done like a first pass of like
The boards.
you know, Word of the Boards team and the
A lot of the
animatic.
layouts, right?
And you know, basically you had already come on the team and were working on some other episodes. And I said, hey, can you help me? and you're so awesome. You said, yeah, I'm happy to. And I said, cool. This one scene, though,
Oh, 100.
I'm gonna be a little greedy Gus about it.
I'm already planning mentally in my head, like either before or like right when the episode premieres, and just telling everyone like, I just need everyone to know how this broke down, because I appreciate that you think that, or that you guys think that I did a great job with this episode.
You did.
A lot of it is like really like Carrie's skeleton, like your skeleton, your bare bones in here.
You're looking at my bones. But look, this is gonna get, I'm not even trying to continue the analogy. But it was still a team effort though, because I mean we talked with each other throughout it,
Yeah.
and you know, you're always the first person I went to about, you know, the bridge scene, and you know, we obviously like, you know, I think you made a lot of, you know, tweaks and improvements and you know, rolled with some of the things like we had to do like for this feel and all that stuff, and like, yeah, you did a great job on this episode.
Oh,
and,
thanks, Carrie.
Yeah.
Out of all the directors, I think I was probably the one that worked with people the most.
I think so, yeah.
Just by like what had to happen, but it was just kind of funny how I was always in a meeting with someone else at some point. And it was nice. It was fun, if only because it was just like, oh, cool. I got to like learn everyone's habits and like see what like the choices you guys are making and how you guys are thinking about stuff.
That's a really good point. Who's your favorite?
Yeah.
No one else speak till she answers?
I guess we'll just watch the rest of the season.
I will say, when we were trying to structure the season, right, we really wanted to be able to focus on individual kind of like smaller stories, right? There was like the market, there was the board game. And in this one, I remember we had a really hard time trying to figure out, okay, well, this is the episode where like a lot of stuff comes to a head, right? You've got the Blake and Yang stuff. You've got the figuring out that the fairy tale isn't real. You've got Jean's backstory, but we couldn't figure out like
how do we have an acre that works for those?
Yeah, and I was like, how do we have a mechanism that like ties all this together?
So you guys just made up something.
Guys, not to interrupt, but I'm not ready for this.
Yeah. Well, this isn't the scene yet. It's like the next time we come back here. But the mechanism was it sounds so stupid on paper, the Punderstorm, right? And it was like, oh, cool. We actually have a way to kind of like let everyone work out all the stuff that's kind of like boiling under the surface. And then that's when it all came together on like an outline level.
I think that's a catchphrase of this volume is it sounds stupid on paper. But then I think
that's the ever after, right?
Exactly. Like I think
it's a way to let everyone work out.
Someone on Twitter is going to grab that 10 seconds of audio of me saying it sounds dumb on paper, and then they're going to quote tweet it and be like,
it's me. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh, did you guys catch that reflection?
The little summer.
The little summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool idea when you guys had like pitched it and stuff. I thought that was neat.
I was worried everybody was gonna hate me because it was like now we have to animate another character, but we knew
we
were gonna have her. Yeah, that's the kind of idea that would not have happened if we didn't already have a scene coming up with Summer.
Right. It's one of my favorite, just like small, like blink and you miss moments.
Like that.
Yeah, it's so awesome. Ooh, we got the 2D
storybook stuff,
which is another great reason you were on this episode.
It was just very funny the moment I come into this volume and I like look at Laura and I'm like, hey, can we also hire some of the 2D animators?
Yeah.
It worked out. We got the artists, and it was still kind of in that vein of the Rwby fairy tales style.
Yeah. I love it too because I mean, you know, it is a fairy tale. We're getting to actually see what that fairy tale that they all read was. Another instance too of where 2D can be a little bit faster than 3D is that we were able to change John and make him look a little bit younger, which that would have taken a lot more effort in 3D than it does in 2D.
Yeah, it felt like a really appropriate way to tell the story we were trying to tell, and also get to integrate and work with various teams across our department. Like it was great.
Smoke them out.
Thank you, Carrie.
Smoke them out.
I remember, because I don't think we ever come back to kind of like what it was that the caterpillar talked to her about, or the vision that she saw. But I think internally we had always talked about that it was the idea that she couldn't trust someone in her party, right, and that somebody in her group was going to keep her from getting back to Remnant. It ultimately ends up being herself. But
cool.
yeah, that was the idea that we had, and I don't think we ever made it on screen, but we wanted to know internally like what that was.
I directed the episode, never bothered to ask. It just goes to show like how much you're really in the page when you're like working on this stuff, and I completely just forget to like ask about like story things like that, because to me I'm just like, yeah, sure, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something. It makes sense on its own, but I think it's important to us a lot of times that even if we don't get on screen, that like we know what the core of that was. Yeah. I also love just always, especially being in a cartoon space, that it made sense and is fun that the poison berry just had like a skull on it. Yeah. Like if you did that in live action, it just wouldn't.
Really,
yeah. But I love that. I love that animation so much.
One thing I love about this conversation is, I'll try to wrap this up quick because we're going to the next scene, but Jean basically doesn't say anything all that different than what the cat said in the previous episode. But it's a different perspective that suddenly throws everything into doubt, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, that was great.
Or that lack of information too with the brother.
It's a really good midpoint.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here it is.
I cry at the same part every time I watch this.
This was incredibly complicated and complex for a lot of reasons. I love what what you and we all came up with. I love the way you handle this in terms of the steps, and again, like, let's make this literal, and let's show when it goes back, and this is one of my favorite examples, and we talked this a little bit in some other content too, but we could have had an amazing scene on Remnant too, of them talking and talking about their feelings, confessing about it, but there's just something so special about getting to do it here. And in this,
it feels so private.
Yeah, it does. Like it, and which I think in some ways that's what a character like Yang needs. I think we've always. I feel so weird actually being able to finally talk about this stuff. But I mean, like, I think Blake has been bisexual for the longest time to her. Like I'm talking about like from a character perspective, and I think maybe what has taken this little while. One, because we wanted just to feel right, but two is I think this is something that's new for Yang. And she's realizing something about herself.
Well, even like writing the scene, I love the way it turns out here that like Yang is really caught off guard because she's kind of keeping everything surface level and fun about like, oh, your cat ears are cute, and then Blake is the one that takes it to like, no, this is what I really admire about you, and it completely takes Yang off guard.
I'm not even listening to it. I'm gonna.
But that's what Yang needed, I think, for this to happen, and forcing them to take the next step by speaking the truth. Like that felt real. That part, that look.
That look.
It's that look of the. Is there anything we haven't said to each other?
And then Blake just like, and this just brightens up in her ears, and I'm like, oh no.
It's just Yang realizing like, there is, and I love, I can't remember whose idea it was. If it might have been Richards, our lead editor, or I can't remember. I apologize, but it might have also been Jackie, I think, or Dalton.
I'll take credit for it.
It was somebody. It was somebody very talented to have a couple of those lines be in their heads.
Right?
Yeah.
But it almost sounds like they're talking to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think this is the part I'm most proud of they're actually in front of each other the whole time. You know.
There goes Issa.
Yeah. Yeah, and Casey just again knocking out of the park. This kind of like complicated. I can't know the best way to say it, but just the way the vocals play in this, and
this duet of
it feels like their brains are right now, just kind of like constantly firing, all these thoughts going.
But it's a perfect harmony.
Yeah, exactly. But it sounds great together. So they smooched.
I'm really happy with how it all came together, and it took a lot of people to make it come together like that. I think it's one of the most things I'm most proud of being involved in creatively.
Me too. And
so
it's one that truly every team. Sorry, this scene. I'm going to keep talking about the other scene for a second. It's one of those things where, like I was saying, from a technical level too, I mean, like the way we did those steps was.
Oh yeah.
None of it on its surface level was difficult to do. We've done, things can appear and reappear and disappear and all that, but tracking that continuity, making sure we had the right number of steps, making sure the set worked the way we wanted to. Right. It took assets, it took the layout team, it took animation, getting those steps right. We measured out steps so we could mocap the right ones.
Right.
The animation team and the storyboard team obviously killing it, and then the visual effects team. When I was imagining that team, I never thought we'd be able to do like the wind blowing off of them.
Oh yeah.
And then they just our Viz Post team and our effects team just showed it to me one day. I was like, like we can do this, please, and just the subtle blushes and all that. It's just
that was great.
Every single person who touched this scene in some way put in their everything.
Yes,
and
they knew. They saw the assignment and they knew like, how important it was. And then they subsequently like clocked it in for the rest.
No,
just kidding.
I was just about to say I love. This is one of my favorite lines from the cat.
Oh yes.
And the having them like not even facing the screen fully.
It's some of my favorite cat like animation from the team. I think they did great.
Yeah.
Sorry, I love the little squeak when Rwby sees. And I'll also say there was another version of this line from Jean before where he said something like, "I can't believe I've been gone for years and that still hadn't happened yet." Was the other version of that, but it sounded a little too cynical.
Sure.
So we ended up getting a different one.
I still think he looks a little like a little creeper boy, but I get it.
That kept coming up. I forget if it was you who said
I think it was.
that. No, And I was just like, I don't know what to do, Carrie.
Look, we know what he means. We know what he means, and this is just heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean that was another thing, is we wanted the end point of this episode to feel like Rwby finally got the thing that she thought she had been looking for, and now that she has it back, it's bad. Like it doesn't feel like it anymore, and it's like a rejection of kind of like that purpose, identity.
I mean, it's something. I mean, I certainly have dealt with. I know we all have. I'm sure. It's just she's had a reason to not have to fully be there, and to push things away for so long, and it's taken from her, or in this case, it's given to her, and I think having to like wrestle with the fact that like now she has to step up again is what's going to lead to her finally breaking.
And she wrote him out of the story. Good night, everyone.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
One of my favorite Jean shots. Good job, Mel.
Yeah.
Good job, Mel.
Hey everybody, it's Chapter 7. You can't get rid of me. It's Carrie, joined by
Eddie Rivas,
Miles Luna,
Dustin Matthews.
And this is actually what the sunrise looks like every morning. If you get up early enough, you can actually catch the little people lighting the sun.
It's not just an ever after thing.
That's why I sleep in, because I don't want to know that that's not true. I don't want to ruin the magic for myself.
I mentioned in the last episode I was on about like things in rereading and rewatching Alice in Wonderland that I was just like fixated on and was like, oh, please, we gotta. And The rabbit being late was just like,
Yeah. It's just-
okay, we gotta come here. We gotta do
Everybody
it.
knows that.
Well, I remember we, and we'll get to this more when the actual Paper Pleasers showed up, but, again, we wanted to have kind of like our little stories for every single episode, and I think we spent a long time trying to figure out what has Jean been doing, because he needs to have been doing something,
Yes.
With all this time, but it made a lot of sense for us that he would be stuck in this pattern of trying to be the hero and feeling like he could succeed at it, which
Yeah.
is kind of where all this came from.
Yeah, I mean, because there was a thing too where we were like, well, if Jean's been here this whole time and hasn't really done anything, that's going to be really disappointing. And then there was like a beat, and we were like, that would be really disappointing.
He's both been incredibly busy and up to literally nothing.
Right. Yeah. He's got it's the ADHD thing of I have a million things to do, but I'm going to be focusing on these right now, even though they're not my priority.
He does make a list. That's supposed to help.
Yeah.
Dude, I went through and read everything on those lists. That was so good.
It's good.
Yeah, I had to. I think I made a spreadsheet. I think I even shared it with you at one point. But I was like, man, I have to come up with
a lot.
What? Yeah. Because it's like that stuff's not spelled out, so there's just a bunch of like silly things in there or whatever. But
I love
my favorite one on the list is help Pierre with her homework.
Aww.
I love the Paper Pleasers. We ended up basically all of the voices are like the other directors and Dalton, one of our editors, who like did, who he edited this episode, right? Didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had done the temp for it, and I was just like, I like the way you said that.
Yeah.
There it is.
There you go. There he is. Yeah, it's a really fun design.
I just love that they're essentially a bunch of just suicidal toddlers walking around.
Yeah.
Sean's just constantly having to watch.
I mean, the thing is, that's toddlers, though.
Yeah.
That is toddlers.
These are the Paper Pleasers.
Finding the voice for old Jean was weird because I was like, hey, like, it could kind of just be me, but like he should probably sound a little too tight because I don't have a naturally low register. And so I remember there was some time where I was like, hey guys, I'm going to do some things on this microphone and I need you to tell me if they sound bad. But y'all helped get me to
No, you did a great job.
Felt good. Thank you.
I was really happy. It's still jarring to me when you transition back at the end.
Totally.
I'm so glad that joke stayed in too.
Oh yeah.
Yoink.
I love Ren's design.
Oh, it's so all the little yes.
Classic Ren.
Which that one's you, Dustin, right?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
I hate hearing my own voice and things, but we got the filters on it, and I was like, okay, that works.
Yeah. And yeah, this designing this whole town, there's just a lot of fun. I love all the little touches and the it kind of looks like haphazard because I mean it is in some ways because they're just kind of like patching things as they go. But
I like the way the trees look like they're cut out of paper. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The whole area looks fantastic.
I like that one of the acres is just blob.
Yeah. That was another one where we're just kind of like, okay, we need a map. Okay, what else is there? Mm-hmm. And how far has he gotten? And
which, if you look at the map, he really hasn't gotten that far.
No.
He's got a lot to do.
He's busy, man.
Yeah.
He's busy.
He's got to keep these paper pleasers going.
We talked about this a little bit in episode 6, but I think another thing that we really liked too was the idea that it seems like, okay, we're following the cat. Oh crap, it turns out the story isn't real, but hey, at least we've got John. And then now putting this on the girls of like, wait, well, now what the heck do we do? Because he hasn't really done much of anything.
So now we have nothing.
Yeah, and now we have nothing.
We have a cat that lied to us and a Jean that's not all here for totally valid reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They see a friendly, familiar face and like cling to him as though, oh my gosh, finally they've been getting tossed around this river and rapids, and you grab this rock that can hopefully keep you safe. And this
not
is
only
the
is he here, but he's been here for so long.
Yeah.
He knows the ins and outs. This is gonna be great.
And he's more lost than ever, it would seem.
Yeah.
It's been interesting,
but sexier.
Because we're recording this, before, or we're recording this commentary before this episode's aired. But it's been interesting because in the episode was like
stop the goose. Sorry.
Stop the goose. I also like stop the unfolding.
You'll know it when you see it.
Yeah. But the totally lost. Oh, it's just that there was some speculation, just looking at kind of what people were saying about Jean returning, that maybe, we're going to, there's going to be a skip in character development, right? Because now he's had enough time to process everything that happened to him. It's like, nope, he He didn't.
He got the biggest bottle with the strongest cork, and and pushed that down.
He, Jean's whole thing has been from Volume 1, like, I want to be the hero, and this is kind of one of the big moments in that journey of, okay, well, what does that mean to Jean? And I think he's been spending this whole time thinking, like, the hero is the person who saves the day and doesn't let anybody down, because he does not feel like a hero after what happened in Atlas.
No.
And him kind of essentially having this unhealthy coping mechanism of, cool, I have people who need me all the time and who I can quote unquote save, and just like, if you get into a comfort, again, like finding something that you can grasp onto in a world that's confusing and scary and full of unknowns, it's just no wonder this dude has been here.
Well, I mean, and also, I mean, he, on top of all that, he literally became the hero from a fairy tale that he grew up. Like, he's the knight that he looked up to.
But our hero still insists.
I think this one's Issa.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
I also like really in this episode juxtaposing that with kind of or paralleling, I guess, more accurately what Rwby is also going through, especially in this conversation. She got Crescent Rose back and doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice touches for Rwby, like in that shot right there, actually. If you watch her through the scene, you can always see she's kind of like detached and sorting her own stuff out in her head, and I thought that was a really nice touch. Like, if you're watching it for it,
we kind of
sad paper.
We kind of wanted it to be like, once Rwby doesn't have her weapon, and so she kind of has this excuse as to why she's not diving in head first to save the day and be herself. And once that is brought back to her, that excuse is gone. And so from the moment she slams the lid shut on her precious Crescent Rose, from that point on, it is like a ticking time bomb until Rwby meltdown.
Yeah.
Those 2D, it turned out great. It was such a weird line for us to try and find, of like these things trying to basically kill themselves.
Yeah.
But in this world,
it's not.
It's not. Right. So it was just like it was weird for us, because we obviously don't want to give the wrong message.
Right.
Killing yourself does not fix the answer.
Yeah.
This is just what this weird sci-fi fantasy thing is.
Yeah. This is. I think there was a phrase that I specifically tried to put in that was something about like escaping your physical form or something like that, because then they just go back to the tree and come right back.
Yeah. And we see the payoff later.
Exactly.
But yeah, whenever I first got the script for this, I had slacked Carrie like, hey, this is kind of dark, right? Like, they're just trying to like. Okay.
And I think that's what gets inside Jean's head. Like, he can't wrap his head around that.
Right.
That the rules work differently here, and it's not the same. Yeah.
None of us know the full story, and we'll never learn anything babysitting these villagers.
What kind of tea do you think that is?
Have to convince Jean to let them go.
We made it purple because that's your favorite color.
Yeah, I feel like the artists do that a lot for me.
Yeah.
And then so the stuff will be purple, and I'm like, I didn't ask for it to be purple, to be fair.
Okay.
It just comes across that way, and I'm like, yeah, that works. I'm not going to tell you to not make it purple.
Tree's the last thing you should listen to them about. They're just doing what they're designed to do.
Jean, they can hear you.
I remember feeling about John. I remember it was so long ago that we did all this. But I remember feeling like when you were trying to outline this that you were having a little bit of trouble, and then I feel like all of a sudden you were like, guys, I think I have it, and then you turned in a first draft that stayed, not that we didn't make some changes to it, but that was largely the same as this.
I'm gonna trust you. I don't remember.
I'm just saying that to I remember being really impressed with you were like, oh yeah, I have this episode, even though it had a lot of disparate ideas. Thanks, man.
How long ago did you actually write this? At this point,
we finished in October of 2020. Is when we finished writing.
Wow.
Volume 9.
Yeah, I think we started summerish.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Because we finished writing Volume 8 in March of 2020.
I love how he gets on Juniper there. Yes. Oh my
so
God.
Cool. Yeah.
Those afterends will never ascend.
And we won't run this time.
This whole fight turned out great.
Yeah.
There's a thing in animation that's hard to do, where not hard to do, but it's kind of a pain to do something on a hill. And I remember I talked to Joel, our animation director, and I was like, you're gonna kill me, Joel, but this fight, it needs to happen on a hill, because it has to happen on a hill so that when the flood happens, whatever, it makes sense where the water is and everything.
They've got to be,
So it's like, we have to do this fight on a hill.
I never even thought about the implications of staging animation. Yeah. Oh my God. That's wild.
Yeah, we have we basically have grades of hills that like predetermined in our sets that we know like we already have cycles for and stuff, and I think this was like higher than anything we had, so we had to do new stuff for it.
This sequence came out great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the song that we got for this too. It's really good.
Yeah.
Or all the music really this whole
Really
every
is.
time we got something, it's just like, oh man, this is
Yeah. But yeah, I love how every song in this volume felt like really unique.
Yeah.
To me, like the, you know, almost like different genres and like just like the way they were doing the melodies.
Yeah, it's great that it also
I can't
works
wait for
like
the
because I
soundtrack.
feel like we send them like different references that would
Yeah.
be very different from each other, but then it all fits together and works.
Yeah, yeah.
And they find a way to like make it all Rwby, you know?
It's funny. We talked about this in episode 1. Are you here? You should probably talk about this, Dustin.
These transitions.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were in the boards and they work, and it was a whole thing. Because it's multiple shots that we're having to blend and like fade together, and so we had mocked it up in edit, and then ultimately comp takes 2 different shots and then finds a way to like add those extra effects that make it work. But we don't get those versions of it until
The
way
last
later.
second,
So
basically.
we have the 2 separate shots, but we don't ever get to see them together. They're just kind of crudely overlaid on each other.
Yeah, these like our pipelines in general, it's very like shot specific, right?
Yeah.
So anytime we have to do anything that blends shots together or anything like that, it kind of turns into a thing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a hard thing, but something we have to keep track of more. So yeah, it wasn't like till it got really far in the process that we were like, okay, this is actually gonna work.
Yeah. And even in edit, like we kept kind of messing with it, and when it goes to comp, then having to be like, okay, this is where our fade is in the timeline in Premiere.
Can you do something like this around this time? Yeah.
And then also add the stuff that actually makes it look cool.
Oh, this is my moment that I love the most.
Man, this whole fight is so cool.
It's such a, like, I don't know. I just love that nonverbal moment for where Ruby's at. Oh, poor boy.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was really excited about this episode, is just finally seeing Rwby break. It's like, we don't see her like that, you know?
I mean, we've been talking about it for years of, wanting to get here, and we just, she was just so focused on Remnant and saving those things that when you take those away, plus everything that happened, she's finally getting some time to reflect.
They're gone, but they're not dead. They'll be back.
Yeah, it's what they wanted. Right, Rwby?
I don't know.
Golly.
Yeah.
She's serving up cold looks.
Yeah, Lindsay did a great job with this.
Yeah.
I'm just supposed to have something.
Lindsay and Miles.
Lindsay and Miles.
Everybody. It takes a village to destroy a village.
I also like too that there's obviously multiple versions of this scene that could exist, but like her having her breakdown, I like that it wasn't unchallenged at all.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like let her vent and run away.
Stay positive, right?
Oh, I love that read.
Smiles all around. Maybe even finally get our feelings sorted out. Good for you, by the way. We're all
I also like that,
happy for
it's not, I don't think it's like super explicitly there on the page, but I don't know, it's the way I always kind of took a lot of this too, was that it's like part of what pushes that over is that, I mean, she has the line about John's make-believe friends, that like we're having to support him through this loss, but then after the loss that she experienced with Penny, and that to me feels like what I always saw as like a breaking thing for her.
Ruby's always been such a positive leader who never falters that it's almost just taken for granted that she's going to be okay. And so with so many other things seeming to go wrong, the other members of Team Rwby are focusing on all these other problems because they're used to Rwby being okay, and making that assumption just leads to Rwby feeling more isolated and not very supported.
The animation for Jean's performance, like through this whole bit, is so good. Like I was looking for thumbnails the other day, and I'm just like going through stuff trying to find good frames, and like I don't think we wanted to use that for the thumbnail, but like there's so many. There's just the attention to detail for like all this, like different emotions that he's going through in the animation is really great. Or even just back in the cafe when he first starts to kind of like lose it. He's like, I'm not crazy, whatever. That whole bit, it's really good.
It's so much fun.
Ooh.
Don't do that.
That feels like the worst part of it, even though it's not the meanest thing she said.
Yeah. Little's just like, what am I in the middle of?
Yo, I was napping.
Yeah.
Oh, Juniper.
I love ending on this.
Sorry, John. They'll be back. We promise.
Welcome to Chapter 8, the happiest episode of the season. It is I, Carrie, and I directed part of this episode.
I'm Eddie Rivas.
Hi, Miles Luna. I was one of the writers on this episode.
This is Paula Decanini. I was one of the directors on this episode.
And then I think I'm last, Kiersey, one of the writers on this episode.
Last but not least. That's the phrase?
That you got it.
I got it. I got it eventually. So yeah, we're getting into one of the darker episodes in the season. Really, this last last few episodes, which, kind of interesting thing I think about these is, originally these last, these 3 episodes coming up, 8, 9, and 10, were originally 8, 9, 10, and 11.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But due to, some scheduling and budget reasons, we needed to truncate those down into 3 episodes, which I think at first was something that we were all terrified.
So scared. So scared.
Well, because it wasn't in the writing process. It was
it was later.
Yeah, cuts have been assembled, which is much harder.
Yeah, I remember you, Carrie, and Eddie kind of let me and Kiersey know, like, hey guys, so we have to put on some surgical gloves and do something.
Yeah.
But
And
y'all did great.
by the time we were done, I genuinely couldn't remember what the original ones were anymore. Like I was really, really happy with how they turned out. But
You guys did such a good job.
oh, thank you. But that's the other reason that so many people are here. And actually, Issa should be here. She just couldn't make it. So Miles and Paula were originally directing.
No, I was a writer, not a director.
I'm sorry. I was directing and writing.
Oh, I see.
Chapter 8, and Kiersey and Issa were originally writing, directing Chapter 9. And then when they got combined, I took over the directing side of it so that Issa could work on another episode. So, anyways, let's talk about the actual episode.
This was such a brilliant directorial choice. The way that she reaches Neo's little house of horrors here.
Yes.
Like that was brilliant.
Yeah,
Spotlight was so cool.
I think Paul. Yeah, we kind of wanted to be both kind of literal and show that she is going to this location that we've seen Neo before, but also kind of stay in this like whimsical ever after space.
Well, we did a really good job at establishing that nothing is what it seems this season, I think, and we can do like really dreamy, abstract things. So yeah, it looks great, that transition.
Yeah, I think for me too, it's like I was trying to get that feeling of what Rwby felt the world was like in her head. She's just looking 2 feet in front of her.
Yes. Very in mood with the slow degradation of Ruby's mental state.
I'm realizing in recording these commentaries that I got absolutely spoiled this volume. Like we got the caterpillar, we got the I got to do Caterpillar, the rabbit being late, and the Mad Hatter's Tea Party.
Yeah,
this is just so much fun.
This was really fun.
Also terrifying.
Yeah, that's why it's fun.
Yeah. It was, really wanting to like try to make sure that they're acting like unison here, just to kind of add to the eeriness of it all. I was really happy with the way the painting shot turned out. That was for every thing that goes like weird or wrong in production. There's also the ones that just like it worked perfectly. Like we had it planned out. We knew how many paintings there would be. We knew we kind of found this like effect filter to apply to them to make them look like they were going to be in the painting. It just like it all worked. It was great.
I love the little clues that we drop in there too about Neo.
Yeah, especially if you've read the novel about her and Torchwick.
Shout out to Roman Holiday.
Yeah, go read it.
How did it feel, Miles, to get to revisit these guys, Pyrrha and Roman?
Roman was a treat. Like, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. But really, it was. Talk about uncomfortable. I mean, the whole goal of of the Tea Party is like, hey, let's bring up every failure that Rwby has just like weighing her down at this point. And there was a lot of things that had to get done leading up to this. I mean, take this leaf, for example. Like, there were so many just little moments where we have to constantly be pushing to the audience, like, the leaves from the tree do weird stuff.
Yeah.
They're constantly falling in the background. We see the herbalist crushing them up with the mortal and pestle. And just also that we didn't have to stop and explain a whole bunch of stuff right here. It's just like, hey, you get it. There's a whole lot of stuff that went before this episode.
It messes you up.
Yeah. And just something to talk about and honor really, but we had wanted we cast Billy Kametz to play the voice of Torchwick. He did an amazing job.
Yeah.
And then we recorded this a very long time ago, and he unfortunately passed away while we were working.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's a few pickup lines that we needed to get. I feel so bad. I never know how to say his last name. Chris Wellcamp, who voices Clover, offered to help in and step in, and he was also the voice of Torchwick in Ice Queendom. But we briefly entertained the idea of like, should we just go back and record everything with Chris? But we really did not want to lose Billy's performance because he did such an amazing job. He was so amazing to work with.
And Chris did too. Yeah.
And Chris did an amazing job filling in for a few lines in for Ice Cream. So thank you, Billy. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to point out one little detail because I was so proud of it. The flowers on the teacup are forget-me-nots.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh my God.
I will say that some of the stuff, right, like not to get like super focused on like what was there, what wasn't, but really most of the stuff that was lost from this episode was the transition to to this kind of like Neo's House of Horrors, and then this went on a little bit longer and was a little bit more brutal.
It was very brutal.
Yeah.
And got pared down to what was the most important.
I actually, Paula,
this is pretty brutal.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if you've seen this cut of yet, but I actually we toned down some of the damage on Rwby from what was originally there, because when we actually got around to doing it and seeing it rendered, we were like, ooh, this is rough. Maybe a little too much. Which I know you and I talked
Hard
about.
to fathom.
Yeah, you and I talked a lot about that while we were doing it.
I think that was an ongoing conversation of like how much is too much.
Right.
Yeah.
And the difference was too, but we did, you helped guide that process, and then months went by, and we actually got in the shots. And we're like, oh, okay, actually maybe this is a little too much. So thankfully we were able to tone that down a little bit.
No, that's because that was a constant concern.
Totally.
Yeah. Like, because this is still like a show for young people.
Yeah.
This moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also this kind of like weird in between thing where it's like, it's also kind of not real because it's Neo's illusions.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, showing violence and not violence at the same time.
Samurai Jack rules.
Exactly.
We get to skirt around it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We should just have them all leaking oil instead.
Yeah. This is. I think all of us have suffered from imposter syndrome from time to time, and the big kind of message we wanted to push in this volume is that you are enough. And but yeah, sometimes, your worst enemy is just yourself, and you feel like this.
It's funny. I wish I'd pushed this a little bit more. In that previous shot, the overhead shot, I had multiple people reach out to me in the production like, oh, hey, I just realized we're missing all of the other characters. But it was like, no, it was intentional. Like, I wanted to take everybody out.
Yeah.
And at this point now, it's just down to like what's really there. So I hope people know that's not an error. Oh, man.
Hi, Cat.
Hi, Cat.
Meow.
Since this episode got written, I've just been waiting for this scene, this moment.
I imagine people are gonna be able to kind of put this together because I think enough of the details are there. But I think, and we didn't even get into it that much before some stuff was cut. But the original idea here being that this was like the brothers' experimental acre that Neo kind of landed in that allowed her to kind of start messing with a lot of stuff in the Ever After because it was more potently something that connected with her as a human. Because it's where the brothers did their thing.
Yeah. Oh my! You just like unlocked so many memories. Of old drafts and things. Yeah.
Yeah. I think early on we were like, this is super important, and we realized like, in terms of everything we need to get out, it's not actually the most important.
Just because
thing.
the Ever After had some weird rules, we thought
Right.
we could get away with not having as much in there.
Yeah. The thing I thought you were gonna say.
Man,
Oh, Kirsten, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just as a writer, I think this is one of the things I'm most proud of is the turn
Yes.
that the cat takes.
Mhm.
It's like we really built it up subtly
Yeah.
through through the course of the season. But yeah, the moment that they finally turn is just like so killer. Ugh.
Oh no. Everybody's gonna be so mad.
Ah!
Look, just
sorry,
it's
Carrie,
someone's coming back. It's fine. Everything's good. No, I was gonna say is Eddie. This is what I thought you were gonna say is I also we know that I think a lot of people are gonna guess that the cat has ulterior motives and is evil. I think that
the surprise is
the surprise is how, the surprise is when, and I think the important thing for me was just making sure that there was doubt.
Yes.
Right. Like I think. It's really easy to be like, oh, I'll bet the cat's going to be evil. But, just making sure that there was some doubt in there still.
Well, and I like, especially, because we knew going in that there would be some, we'll probably talk about this more later, but just the idea that some people would find or be worried that this volume would be filler, but then to connect it in that moment to, no, wait, this is actually all tied to what was going on back in Remnant with the brothers, and have the cat be linked to that, I feel like works really well.
I like the juxtaposition between Rwby and Neo in this episode. Just they're both two lost girls who.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just to that point. Like, this is kind of like positives in in kind of having to like trim some things down a little bit. Originally, the episode ended with Rwby falling through, but which I think is a great ending. But I think the thing that I like about what we have now is that we have that direct comparison then to Rwby, and how those are linked right back to back now.
Yeah, neither one of them won that fight.
No, exactly.
I like that way of phrasing it. Coming up on the most horrifying sequence in the whole volume.
Yes.
Which I'm going to blame Issa for.
Way to go.
And I told her that I would because it's amazingly horrifying. So yeah, I mean, we talked this a little bit, but basically, Paula and Issa both for 8 and 9 respectively, got the episode through the boards phase and animatics and through art, and then basically I just kind of helped finish them out. Yeah, Issa and I basically worked together to make sure that this was like the most horrifying thing we could make it.
I love those color swaps.
And you succeeded. Good job.
Well, I mean, Kirsten, you helped too by getting it in there in the script.
Whoever's idea to have those like palette swaps, I just thought it's such a nice
Brilliant.
touch. And then
Oh God.
Yeah. we talked about another commentary, but it's basically like an art-directed version of like inverted colors. It's like not quite inverted.
And her eyes.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
The motif of the eyes over and over again really nails it home.
Yeah, and our Vismos team adding in those checkered patterns, like the edge of the frame. It's another example of they just kind of went above and beyond. They're just like, hey, we tried this thing. What do you think? And I'm like, yes, please.
Neo speaking is also
Finally, the true feelings.
Yeah.
the great flag of like, hey, it ain't Neo anymore, dog.
Yeah.
The teeth really sell it.
Yeah, it was fun getting we originally. Maybe we'll talk about another episode. We originally had them exiting it another way that was crazy. We walked it back a little bit. I like this version better.
Yeah.
A door opened for
Chapter 9. Hey, everybody. We're back. This is Carrie, joined by
Eddie, I wrote on this episode.
Issa, I somewhat directed on this.
Hi, I'm Dustin. I'm the other director on this.
And
Kiersey here. I also wrote on this episode.
yes, this is another one where we had kind of combined some things. So originally, Dustin had been working on what was chapter 10, and Issa had been working on chapter 9. So the way this worked out as this new chapter 9, Dustin, you were kind of spearheading this episode, but and Eddie had to break. Eddie and Kirsty had to break up again. We don't remember.
Yeah, we don't remember. It was so long ago. But
yeah, this sounds weird to say. Don't get me wrong, but it's kind of like in some ways doesn't matter because we're just it was all about getting the best end result. But Eddie and Kiersey both contributed the scripts.
Yeah.
That became this episode, and then Dustin, you kind of spearheaded it along with Issa.
Yeah. And I think originally one of the episodes, this was kind of in the middle of one of those episodes. And so we had to do some work with the transition to get to this scene. I think is where one of the biggest changes and like cuts got made.
Yeah.
Was now this was starting an episode as opposed to being in the middle of it.
I think that's one of my favorite things about all of this is how much that some of that stuff almost didn't matter. Like we had to do stuff for it, right? But I think we wanted to talk about it because we didn't want to seem like a big secret or anything. Yeah. But I don't think that people would know if we didn't talk about it, which I'm very happy about.
I remember spending a lot of time with Issa and I had like the most absolutely banana pants conversation about the best way to like shorten up this and trim this episode down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was we had a really good time.
we were as you said, Carrie, is like kind of what was best for the episode. So because Kiersey, you had written it, and or we already I think started having serious conversations about like I think this may end up being a little long, things like that. Is like what is the most important thing? Like what is the most important like image in your head that you had seen that like you think is important for just everything? Some of the
like gem tower.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Dustin, you were talking a little bit about how the gem stuff played out.
Yeah, I was waiting for y'all to finish. The tower here, like the water that comes up, I was super excited with how it turned out. Like I remember the first time I saw some of the water. I also worked on Chapter 7, and we did some water sim stuff there too. But like it was neat this season. Like we really had like 3D effects, or I feel like more than usual. And so every time we got to see those in review, it was like really neat. Like seeing, that whole like swirling thing. That shot was like so hard to do because we had just like drawings that were pretty rough, and then the animators will like time it out with these little things we call ad hocs, but it's just like rough shapes basically. And so trying to like explain to each part of the pipe, like but the water has to like twirl this way, but it wasn't like exactly represented.
It's tough because we have to like give enough information so that the next part of the pipeline understands what we're trying to do, but we also wanted to like leave it open a little bit so that they can do their job, which is make it look the best way. So it is a lot of like placeholder shapes and then conversations about, hey, I know there's a rectangle going across screen that's doing kind of like a corkscrew. It could take up more of the screen, or you can add some extra to it.
Especially too because we're doing the cameras to that also, but then like the actual water comes across or whatever.
I feel like I could say this about every single part of Volume 9, but especially this episode, like the visuals are just so unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
I really love how this tree set came out, which even before some of the ways we can. I mean, this set is probably one of the like sets that like spans the most episodes. So it was always kind of this team effort, right? To some of these things, it's like, Dustin, you worked on stuff in Chapter 4, like with the herbologists, none of us touched, right? Like none of us in our episodes, but this was for everybody.
Yeah, for this one, like originally before, me and Issa kind of swapped around and stuff, but even back then, like I remember being Issa having to like, I would like send her a thing of like a top down I had drawn and been like, hey, will this still work with the thing that you're doing and whatever, because we had to make sure that across episodes it was going to work. So.
I do want to give just props to you, Kiersey, just because I feel like so much hinged like emotionally on this idea of the tree being acceptance, right? And being able, that being the matter of perspective that we kind of talk about, and like it's not a place you go, it's a place you know. And so there was a lot of very kind of like nebulous emotional ideas that had to kind of like all come together right here. And I just thought Kiersey did an amazing job kind of getting us there.
I agree.
I've always loved this whole sequence.
I think it's just
well, and this section was so much fun to write, especially seeing kind of all these things that we've set up over the course of the volume coming to fruition feels so good.
Well, and I think it feels great for them, and then in contrast, them being without Rwby then hurts even more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if she was there, this would almost be like their happy ending.
Yeah.
They made it there. They're ready to go. They've seen, how things have evolved, but they're missing someone very important.
They have to trust in her. It's huge.
It worked out good nicely for me too, because we get to see Herb come out, what we just saw, and I had chapter 4, and then also we see the gyms, which I had chapter 7, which had the paper pleasers. So it was cool to get the part where we kind of see all that come together, you know. Which also, because of that, I always used to mix up saying papers and gyms. People in production,
the gym pleasers.
I would give a note about the pleasers, but I would be talking about the gyms. But I was thinking.
Well, in a way, they are the same.
Well, yeah, they are. And in my head,
The genial gems.
Yeah, but when you're just talking to an artist, you're like, no, but what asset are you talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah, because they need to know.
Mommy.
I do remember coordinating with Kiersey a lot on this because of the way the episode split out before, right? This was in Kiersey's episode, but then I had more scenes with the blacksmith in the next episode. And I remember the thing we kept talking about is that the blacksmith would talk to her the way like a therapist does, right? Where the therapist is always like, "Is that what I'm saying to you right now?" Like really trying to pull out of Rwby that emotional thing, you know?
Yeah,
Twisting a newspaper.
She's not going to just give Rwby the answer.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Rwby has to kind of land there.
I'm not going to give you the answer, but I'm going to gently lead you to the answer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Harder.
I mean, I have no problem talking about this inspiration for it. I mean, I think early on, something that jumped out to me was, and something that's always resonated with me was God in Futurama.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that during the whole process.
That was like a very early reference for me of just the whole. If you've done things, I can't remember the quote now, of course, but it's like if you've done something right, they'll never know you did it at all.
Yeah.
You know, and it's about learning and teaching. The thing I thought you were going to bring up for a second when it comes to the blacksmith was I noticed in that shot is I remember right around the time that we concepted the blacksmith and had them be so tall was when what's her name from Resident Evil?
Gosh.
Madam something.
Yeah.
That we were like, oh, the blacksmith.
Yeah, and everyone was like, oh, it's so awesome. She's 8 feet tall, and we're like, we have someone tall too.
Sorry, I also love this moment where the cat tells Weiss that she's the worst one.
Yeah, that whole beat is the best.
Yeah.
Weiss this volume. She's just exceptional. She's my favorite.
Perfect. Queen. Justin.
There's a cool animation part there too, where like the cat had been trying, or Neocat's like trying to get through the door, and they're like pretty defeated. But then as soon as like the team walks up, they kind of like snap into this like completely different mood, and
Very
I was
cat-like.
Yeah, that was
and
something.
they go like right back into their. Like,
That was something from the board that like I called out kind of immediately, like just like, oh, like they're performing, they know they're doing this kind of a thing, so really
They're so theatrical.
They're really theatrical. So like, get the board artist to do the most, get the animator to do the most, kind of a thing. Or that was the plan for sure, and they definitely like got they got it.
I feel like Neocat is the definition of most.
there's a cool Weiss animation when she responds to the cat too, where she's like, "I guess your little plan isn't working out," and there's this little hand gesture, and it's like, so choice. My favorite like animation things. Our animation supervisor actually acted that out for the animator, and it turned out great.
I remember when we were trying to, because it always comes down to that when at the end of the volume, right? Like we're talking about what every character wants and how are we going to resolve this situation. I remember we were trying to figure out kind of what's the logic here that each character wants, and then it felt really good when it still came down to what does the cat want? The cat wants to get out. Neo doesn't want to get out, right? And what does Neo want? And that helping us to our solution a little bit later on.
Well, that too, and I also love that, you know, for Weiss, Blake, Yang, and Jean, you know, obviously, of course, they're going to protect Rwby. This is not the first time they've had to protect, you know, somebody they care about, but protecting Rwby so that she can make her choice.
So she can make her choice, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it just it felt great.
Yes.
Creepy
There's
Rwby's.
such an awesome contrast going on too between the fight that's happening outside and then this really quiet internal moment that Rwby is having. I love the way it was cut back and forth too in this iteration.
And I think at this point with the cuts, we've now handed over to the next episode the way it was originally done. I think it ended with the cat saying that they were going to put them in the ground.
I think that sounds about right, yeah. Yeah.
We're in Eddie Town now.
Eddie, what state is Eddie Town in?
State of mind, baby.
There it is. I knew it. Oh, this was like one of the coolest images, Dustin.
Oh,
It was,
yeah.
like one of the neatest things ever. all the cases.
I love when you have an idea in your mind and then the way that you guys execute it is so far and beyond anything that we could have imagined.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna get sappier for a second, but I mean, that's why I love doing this so much. Is it's one person has a very good idea, and the next person can look at it and go, here, I'll make it 5% better, and the next person makes it 5% better, and it's still that core idea, but it's the best version of that idea.
Yeah,
and you can't get that by yourself.
There's a version of, because we were talking about the cases coming up with that, where we see them again, and the blacksmith, kind of turns as like, you could be anyone you want, or whatever the line is, right? And then the cases kind of like glow up, you know, like the weapons inside the cases. Am I wrong?
Is this the wrong episode?
It might be the next episode.
Whoops. Oopsie.
Yeah, it might be the next episode.
I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah. The cases are cool all around.
Yeah.
The cases are great to say. I got ahead of myself. So they used to all be the same thing.
We're just very excited about the cases.
Well, no, I do like that. That's
bound to
how
happen.
the blacksmith. Yeah.
There it is. Okay. Yes. Oh man.
What do you love about it?
Just that the case is glowing. I asked the Heiser, our comp lead, like, I feel like we need to highlight them some way, but I don't know exactly what that means. But like, and he was like, what if we just like glow up, whatever?
Yeah,
and
like
that was like
from
his
the
thing. It's
inside.
like, let's do that. Like just the weapons. Like I knew it needed something, but like they had like that extra.
Yeah, I love this visual representation of seemingly infinite choices in front of Rwby.
One for Rwby specifically, like the blacksmith shows up as someone that is going to be offering weapons.
Right.
When that was kind of one of our first introductions to Rwby as a character and her core identity.
Yeah.
Someone say something. 5 seconds.
I love it. All ultimately coming back to episode 1.
And on the way.
We did it. Another season down.
Boop.
Once again, same group. Got Carrie,
Eddie,
Isa.
Justin.
Kiersey.
Yay. How we get to see her in her element.
I want to say, and Dustin, probably same thing, that all our daughters have contributed to the artwork in this room. Mine were very excited to get to contribute artwork for Rwby.
Yeah, I had the idea. I asked our art director, I was like, can we do that? And we had put out a call on Slack, like, just basically, if you've got kids, can you have them draw something that maybe, Rwby or Yang might have drawn or had hang up in their room or whatever? And we got, like, lots of submissions. And so, yeah, all that artwork is from one of our kids, so that's pretty cool. I think in that first shot, that tree back there is Violet's. But she was so young, she didn't really understand what it was going for, but it just worked out that they painted a tree that day.
That's really funny.
That's so cute.
This is this was originally part of your original episode, Dustin, but it's kind of one of my favorite scenes. Actually,
I love this scene.
Is a lot of the stuff with Summer.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those. Once again, you guys are like playing with perspective. Like what is the expected versus like what you guys had written out to be the thing, and then suddenly you spin it, and it's just like, wait, something else different actually happened, or it just is a new spin, and it's just. Woo,
I love the moody
layers.
lighting in there too. It's so good with the moonlight coming through the window.
I think it's really important for Rwby to see that. I mean, like, even her hero wasn't perfect, and we'll get into it more, later. But nobody is the perfect hero, but that doesn't mean there isn't good in the world, and that doesn't mean that she can't do good in the world.
Well, especially for Rwby, who had based so much of her identity on her mother.
Right.
And then I think it was for us in the writers' room too. We were really excited about like, hey, we wanted to give just a little bit more color to Raven. The idea that, oh wow, the only person that knew what happened to Summer was Raven, and that changes the way you look at Raven even. And we loved dropping that at near the end of the season.
It gives both of them like so much more dimension, both Summer and Raven, to see this moment between them.
Yeah. That even that like little shoulder touch too.
Yeah.
It's just like
spicy. From a production element too, or aside too, we as every production happens, we're looking for ways to save some money. And at one point we were talking about, could we do that Summer Ty Raven scene in 2D? And I still think it would turn out great. Yeah. But I think we all just knew like it had to be 3D.
Yeah.
So we just like really pushed for it. And in fact, I think there's some stuff later in that we actually then made 2D.
Yes, yeah.
Instead, that we thought would work better for it, just so we could have this moment.
Yeah, I think it was a good choice, really.
I love getting to see Alex. Too.
Oh yeah.
I will say one of the only things that I, it's not there anymore that I wish could be, but we were having to make all these changes. There was actually another scene, and it made sense to lose it just because it was 2 kind of moments with Jean in the smoke. But Jean had another scene with the herbalist, now the caterpillar, that I loved. The line that I loved from that was the caterpillar, or now the butterfly, telling Jean the thing about humans is that they have everything that they need to make the changes. Right. And so then when Rwby chooses herself later, Jean has that moment where he looks at her and he says she had everything she needed.
Yeah.
And those are the 2 that I miss. But that line didn't make sense by itself.
Yeah,
so
and it's one of those things where all of the elements are there for Jean to make that, and so we're just telegraphing it or being a little less specific about it. But it's a good line.
Yeah,
it's a good line.
But I did like that scene with the butterfly. Yeah.
This is the biggest self-own ever on the part of the cat.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there.
I love the line, like, how do you deal with all these emotions? Yeah, it's like that.
It's true, yeah.
It's like that.
Being human do be like that.
I feel that hard.
Yeah.
Oh, the effects in this are so cool.
Yeah. Oh, so
here he
a lot
is.
of this stuff. Dustin, the way Dustin and I split it, Dustin, you had a good chunk of this like fight, and then what will be like kind of Rwby's awakening later. So yeah, this is all D-Money.
The Furious
Yes,
Cow.
this
So
was
cool.
so fun to see when we actually like got to see the design for it is every time you're like, oh, I wrote these words on a page and now it's actually a thing. But the different versions of the cat in particular, where I was just like, yes.
Meanwhile, production and art was like, no. We love them though. They did an amazing job. I think one of my favorite things about the Furious Cat was they did like the color. What was it called? Like
chromatic aberration.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carrie. I was gonna butcher
Dustin and I
that.
looked at each other and went, oh no.
Yeah, between art and our VisPost team, we kind of wanted to, we already had some weirdness with the cat, right, where they don't have like lines by default, and they already kind of sit on the edge of our art style a little bit. So I think we want to do these kind of, the colors of this version of the cat are like roughly the inverted colors of the normal cat. They're a little bit, art directed to look better. But having it, to me, it gives us this feel like they're kind of like holding on by a thread.
Yeah.
I always get emotional about this moment and even talking about it. Just because there's something that we all really loved when we were getting to this point of the season, about the whole season in general, about like Rwby has this opportunity to choose anything else, and ultimately like chooses herself.
It's so
there's something really special to that.
I need to call out that one of my favorite things we were able to do with this episode were the music call-outs. Like Kirsty, you and Eddie, like you won't be able to hear it. Oh my God, this part too.
Sorry. Yeah.
Man. Anything we could reference back to the beginning, like we're not even just referencing chapter 1, we're going all the way back to the Red trailer. Like music called that, we were like, can we do Rwby's Red Like Roses? Later on in the episode, we're gonna get This Will Be the Day like back again, and it was the one thing I remember just thinking about constantly when I was originally doing like the boards, and be like, no, this has to be it.
And I like Carrie phrased it this way once, that like Rwby comes out a little bit different. She's herself, but she's the self that chose herself. Like is the way Carrie phrased it once.
You wrote this, right? Yeah, I think the line in the script said something like, I might butcher it, but something like she emerges simultaneously different and more herself than ever. Fire burning behind her eyes or something like that. It's good.
Well, just the look that she makes when she like, the face that she makes when she jumps out is just like, it's so classic. Like, I am gonna absolutely kick your
100%.
I love
the team attack.
Yeah, the way y'all represent all the like the visuals and everything of this are just
I'm so happy.
I'm very happy with how it's all turned out, too.
We did great on this.
It came out so good.
Thanks.
No, you're wrong.
No.
I'm just reveling now. It's like, oh, hey guys, we made it.
We did. I mean,
I cursed. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, you did it twice. That's good.
This, I mean, you know, it was a tough season, but I am so proud. We'll talk about this later. I'm just so proud.
This Neo moment
we talked so much about how we wanted to end things with Neo.
Yeah.
Because there's just this really weird line of everybody loves her as a character. Like she's got a cool design. Like there's things about her really cool. She is also a bad person that has done bad things.
Not redeemable at all.
No. But you know, we have if you haven't, you should. You know, we have a novel kind of covering her and Torchwick, and you can kind of see how she got here. So it's this weird, like, how do we not redeem her because she's done some very terrible things, but kind of like set her on this like maybe more neutral path, I guess is the best way. We're not sending her to hell, I guess. You know what I mean?
We're in this place where
we're ending her with a bow.
Yeah,
Yes.
putting a bow on it and like giving her. I love that she bows out.
Yeah.
Like literally bows out.
Yeah.
But giving her a chance, like we have this mechanism where people can reinvent themselves.
Right.
And there is something a little bit redeemable about someone that's done horrible things, saying like, okay, actually, I'm going to choose another version of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of like the weirdest part is that we have this mechanism that doesn't exist in the real world of redemption. You know, so I think, you know, when she comes out of the tree, will she be redeemed? Who knows? She has to prove it, right?
She has to pick a different person.
She just comes out as Rwby too. Yeah.
I will say, so this is kind of handing off to Kiersey's stuff, and this scene always gets me.
It's coming. The heartbreak is coming.
Oh man, Kiersey, I cry at the same spot all the time.
So many reviews, Issa's just crying.
Yeah, I straight up, I say, guys, I'm crying, and it's like real all the time.
I love the line coming up about a happy dream.
Oh, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
No.
When I saw this character design, I lost my mind. I think I messaged Carrie screaming, just screaming.
You know, we talked about this earlier, but you know, we you know, as of recording this, episode 8 has not aired yet, where the stomp happens.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is current Carrie talking right now. I'm really hoping that episode 8's gonna happen. Everybody's gonna hate me. Episode 9's gonna happen. Everybody's gonna hate me. Episode 10's gonna happen. They're gonna see somewhat, and they're gonna go, oh, okay.
I really love that was another thing that we had talked about, just like, well, what mark are they leaving here? And just this idea that it's like everything has had its one purpose, and then now you have this creature that because of Team Rwby, right, and their presence in the ever after, like, is no longer defined by having one thing to do. And I really love that that's the spot that we ended on, and like the mark that they got to leave.
It really drives home nicely the blacksmith's point about you just have no idea the effect that you've made on the ever after, and somewhat is the perfect encapsulation of that.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure you'll help lots of people.
Not even hearing it at 100%, I still cry. Like, dear God.
Oh, the little outfit. Oh my God.
I know, Lucy Christian did a great job with the voice, because I just hear her echo in my head of like how she delivered that line.
So if there's any millionaire or billionaire out there that wants to sponsor and fund a somewhat spin-off, just find me on Twitter.
I also just love the earnestness of like, I'll never leave her side. Just,
oh God.
Oh.
Well, and we knew that everyone would get really attached to Juniper because we were really attached to Juniper. So they both needed to have just like a really fairy tale ending, and this is the perfect fairy tale ending for the two of them.
Yeah.
Ooh, I want to call out. So Jean looking back here was not my direction at all. The animator, I want to believe it was Megan. Or it could have been someone else, but I want to say it's Megan. They added that in, and
For
I
which
went
part?
Jean looking back at Juniper and someone leaving,
and like rubbing his eye a little bit.
Yeah, and I went, "Oh, this kills me." I'm keeping that.
I think originally there was some dialogue here of Weiss having her final moment of like, God, the ever after this place.
Yes.
Is just, I'm so tired of it.
Yes. They're originally
now I'm falling through nothing.
that got cut, I think, for a time, but I'd miss it if only because I love her.
So one thing I'll say here is that, one of our things when we were writing this is that, we didn't want it to feel like it was filler. I mean, we didn't want to write something that was filler. So we wanted there to be something that really connected us to the story that was going on back home, right? And then having this be the place where the brothers came from, and then getting all of that in this episode. We've talked about there have been some cuts. I won't go super into it. There was a little bit more of an epilogue that we had that kind of came a little bit after this. But I still love the way all of this rounds out with the blacksmith being able to kind of like write the little fairy tale ending for them here.
Oh, yeah.
And for us to get this idea that, we're going to be taking something really important, some really important knowledge with us back to Ribnet.
Yeah, because I mean, I think between that and just the emotional journey they all go through. I mean, I think we made a joke about it earlier, but I mean, like, to me, this volume is like the character's therapy.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Sure.
Yeah. And the blacksmith is a therapist.
Yeah.
There it is. So upcoming 2D sequence, as Carrie called out, one of the longer ones that we've had. Fun fact, all animated by one person.
Wow.
Not all drawn by different people in terms of like the art assets and things like that. Two to three different artists, but Susie Combs was the sole person to put everything together. And at the end, I went, Susie, I am asking for you to hand draw some animation stuff. And she's like, okay, cool.
Did she do all the other chapters?
She did one of them, but I think we had a couple more on those chapters as well. But at this point, it was pretty much like just Susie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did all the ones in 19.
I love the parallels between like this story and like the Remnant version that we've heard before.
Yeah.
And I love how like just how much more like in some ways pure this one is.
Oh yeah.
Too, because it's coming from the blacksmith's perspective. Who
Oh, and I just love the idea of them being babies. Like, that's just adorable. That the gods used to be cute little babies.
Yeah.
Well, I think it also helps, and Eddie, you kind of mentioned this too, like it helps contextualize and get into a little bit more about the fact that, these gods in Remnant are, they're gods in Remnant, but they came from somewhere else, and they have, I'm trying to talk around a couple things here, but they, there's more to them.
Yes.
It's a more nuanced thing than just there are these two gods that created Remnant.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I like getting to see this perspective on the cat too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May or may not be important, later.
Later.
Issa, was this one always called out as 2D in this group?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I
Because
think
we ended up...
Was it?
I thought it was.
I read that
but
in
I was
the
going to say, we
script.
ended up, when we combined stuff, we ended up like adding some more to kind of keep this like storybook thing. So we actually went back to some other episodes and added...
that's right.
Like,
that's right. Yeah.
honestly, for some productions.
Yeah.
I think in some places,
for things like
but
this.
it made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tend to go more to 2D just because it is, like, quote unquote, like
Fairy tale vibe.
creating an asset is just easier in some ways in 2D than it is in 3D.
Yeah. This was
such a nice touch, by the way, with it becoming the four colors of the girls. That was amazing.
Oh, thanks, Kiersey. I was really just gonna start saying, it's like, oh yeah, this part I would back to my like preference for experimental animation route. When I was asking Borders to do this, I went, I know this isn't gonna make sense, but I think we just need to make this just visually not obvious, or more just visually not just characters and figures, because she's talking about a concept.
Right.
It's very abstract. And relating it back to Rwby. Team Rwby, I should say.
I'm glad I walked you back a little bit because originally you just said,
right.
have you seen the end of Evangelion?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
That has been has been my marker for like every time I talk about that.
So Ruby's going to be sitting in a chair in a room.
And everyone's clapping.
For 40 minutes.
Oh, we've made a couple of jokes at this point about the blacksmith like doing magic, or kind of just what's the word? Oh, this part makes me cry too.
Yeah.
Just complete tangent. My call out was always very Violet Evergarden.
Oh, sure.
You're looking at something subjectively from someone's point of view, and it's more what they're thinking about rather than what they're really seeing.
Right,
And
right.
yeah. I forgot what I was talking about.
somewhat distracting.
Somewhat.
We all got taken aback by Old Man John.
Will soon no longer be. Spoilers.
That's true. Yeah.
Spoilers.
Oh yeah, here's her next trick.
Yeah, she does do the magic tricks.
She's just like, I have a lot of time.
It's just like Ant-Man.
Just handkerchiefs.
Look at all my screen time.
No one visits me.
I do love this goofy moment.
I love the blacksmith just because it was like one of the very first ideas that we had in this whole season was the blacksmith, and that tied it together from the very beginning. Oh, I love the streaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calling out compositor Autumn, I think
Yeah.
that was her idea.
Yeah, it was like, can we have this like little addition, because we wanted him to go back, to normal. Although we did talk a good bit about should he just stay old.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think
There were debates.
I was about to say I think it was a writer's room divided on that one. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. But ultimately, I think him. It felt he went through enough. So I think
Let's have him do it all over again. But.
Yeah. If nothing else, I just want his knees to be better. Those are kind of getting creaky.
Thanks, therapist mom.
There's John wiping his eyes again.
Yeah.
It's okay to cry, guys.
Yes.
Yeah. And
This is such a cool final moment.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brian,
Yeah.
our Matt painter. He went real hard on this.
Yeah. Just getting this look at how. There's obviously questions here, but ultimately it's just having this hope to me is what.
That was the note we wanted to end on after the rough cliffhanger of Volume 8.
Right.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And there's definitely a lot of little Easter eggs to look at in that shot, and I'll let y'all do that. But we did it.
Wow, it's the end.
Another volume down. I think, for me at least, I think that for multiple reasons, this is like one of the toughest ones that we've done.
Yeah.
And it's also the one I think I'm the most proud of.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
Same
yes.
boat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, or not that it's incredibly humorous, but I think it's just there's a hint of irony in terms of it's just like this is the one that kind of technically has the least plot.
Sure.
But it really is about the character building and
Yeah.
like what you guys. It really felt like this is what you guys really wanted to explore. And you had the bandwidth, quote unquote, and the area to like actually like really get into the meat of that. And now you're like, okay. So similarly to Rwby, gonna come out of it and being like, hey, I'm gonna kick everyone's asses.
Yeah. Well,
it's a very simple story, ultimately.
And I think that I think we creatively, I think we all kind of needed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the most
Oh yeah.
fun, also, even though very challenging. Like,
Yeah.
It was the most fun to have like a new place to play. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. It's a feeling that I feel like you usually get by like moving on to another show
Yeah.
Right.
that has like
True.
a different thing, but we were able to
Yeah.
do it within our own show. So I really love this volume, and I appreciate all of the crew that I think really put their heart and soul into it, and I think and hope that they feel great about it too. And yeah. Thanks everybody for watching.
It was such a great emotional journey.
Yeah. And yeah.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Thank you.